What's good, guys? Sorry about the delay. Welcome to episode 3 of Arena of Light. We're just setting up our first match. Octagon has been down for us, so we've had a little bit of a technical difficulty sorting out our environment, getting ready to accommodate Untap instead. Today, I am joined by none other than Steve Dolman from the YYT.
Hello everyone, how are you doing?
We've also got Jesse Dyer down from, you living in Essex side these days, aren't you, buddy?
Yeah, down to Essex now that I finished uni, so
Yeah.
nice to be here and see you again.
Yeah, man, you used to play a lot of games up with us up in Leeds and things like that.
Yeah, it was
so
a lot of fun.
Looking forward to seeing how we're doing. And we've got Graham returning from championing last week.
I almost wish it hadn't have happened.
Wow,
Pressure's on.
Yeah, woohoo. And also, finally, Dan Hurst, our initial first champion from the first remake episode.
Hello.
Flexing his stuff on a new deck, I believe, tonight. So,
Hopefully
very shortly, the room will be up and we can get that open for you guys when these guys are ready.
Right.
So,
We'll jump down into.
Decision between playing a good deck or a fun deck, a fun deck to watch. So
yeah. Well, we're gonna be seeing Fire Ice, I think, again from Graham. So that's gonna be taking some names today, I imagine.
And then I was speaking to Jesse before the tournament, and he said he was playing Mono Earth 7. We saw a bit of it when we were testing Untap just now, but he's gone instead of doing the typical 2 elements that you normally see with 7. He's just going for Mono Earth. He might be playing row members, for example, but it'll be interesting to see what he does.
Absolutely. So all we know is that Fire Ice is particularly aggressive and particularly consistent, and particularly effective at doing what it wants to be doing. So Mono Earth is going to have to try and pull something out, potentially get some big old tasty EX burst to try and stave off that initial
but my impression of this matchup in general is that it's quite skewed in the favor of any deck playing a heavy amount of Earth, just because Earth is, you can kind of shrug off the discard after a certain point if you're playing enough recursion. Don't know. I think there's Kadaj in this deck rather than Light Aerith, so that's one avenue of recursion that's not available. But the sheer number of EX bursts gives PTSD to lock. You've just got to keep one of your own dudes on the board, and then all of a sudden the dull and the freeze doesn't really mean anything.
Absolutely, there's nothing worse than finally getting that card out of their hand, only to EX burst the Kusif and put it straight back.
Yeah, I think Kadaj will pose a lot of problems for Graham's Fire Ice. I mean, a lot of the time, you flicker it out, and then so you can't really use your quote-unquote sorcery speed removal on forwards or backups. You have to be able to deal with it then and there if you want to kill it. And I'm not quite sure if Fire Ice has any avenue to do that apart from Nile, particularly in build recently where it's a lot about Glacier, which doesn't kill Kadaj, and there's a lot of forward removal.
I think it's a little bit of a flaw in the design of Kadaj, is that there are so few elements that have an actual way to deal with it. There's something wrong with the world when you unironically consider Opus 1 4CP Odin as like, this card actually does what I want it to.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, 4CP is a hard four to deal with anyway, by a few cards, and it's also a 9k, so we'll see if Graham can deal with that. It looks like Jesse's got off to a great start. He's searched for the Barret with the Kolka, so he's fixing his hand. Hopefully he drops a Jetty soon to make that Barret even better or easier to play. And Graham's got an Interceptor down, so we're probably going to see a Shadow turn 2. That would be the ideal play. I would assume particularly go fast and strong into an Earth deck before it has a chance to set up.
Quite difficult in Fire Ice, though, to both go turn to Shadow while also fixing both of your colors. Unless you played like a Gastalian Empire set on turn 1. Which I think is more of a kind of turn 2 lock sort of play. I think that playing Shadow really quickly sort of forces you into playing a lot of fire backups and then leaving your hand quite bereft of ice.
That's true. There's a really interesting new 2CP ice backup that I've seen. Kronos.
I was just about to talk about that card.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we see Graham play it today. Kronos is an interesting one, and I think it'd be really good against Earth, particularly before it gets set up. So without it, if you don't know what the card does, when it enters the field, players that control fewer than 2 forwards discard a card. So, to my mind, an Earth deck takes a while to set up. They're going to have big dudes, big fat men to start with. and they're going to have to discard, and they really need those cards in hand. But speaking of which, Graham's got off to a very good start. He's getting the turn 2 lockdown like we talked about. He's got the 2 backups, which is excellent, setting up for a very solid start for Fire Ice. See what Jesse...
That
Smart
looks
play here is
gonna-
going to be to slam down Barrett, even if it does cost 5, just to discourage Lock from attacking. Even with
That's true.
it's in hand, Lock's not going to be able to attack.
That's true, because there's no Edgar down on the field as well, which would make the combat math a lot easier for Graham to navigate that. But yeah, the jump between 7 and 9 is quite hard for Fire Ice to do with this current board.
So we're
So
seeing
there
that
we go.
the Barrett come down straight away. Tifa and Gabranth going straight to the break zone off of that 1, leaving Jesse with 3 in hand on his 1 backup versus Graham's 2 backups and 4. Tapping 2. Seeing that Edgar come down for the 3rd backup, that's clean. That's going to put Fire Ice in a really good position. 3rd backup is so powerful for Fire Ice,
Yeah, it's a
especially
very
with
strong-
Edgar.
Clean, but a complete loss of tempo since Lock wasn't able to turn sideways.
That's true. So we kind of a bit of a stalemate so far. I mean, the fact that Graham's setting up with his 3 backups, they're all 3 very good backups to have down as well. All we're missing is the Gestalian Empire Sid, and I think he's pretty much set.
Here we go. Barrett's going to find that Jesse straight away. Here you go. You ready? Oh, and a crow. That's a row member. That's not a whiff.
Remember, 3 CP backup he can play on this current board. That's quite
That's
good.
not a whiff. That's still a card. That's 2 experts down at the bottom though. No Raubon for you, buddy.
Okay. That's
So-
6
6 in hand. He's going to take that damage. Cyan to damage. Don't really want to be seeing Cyan at this point in the game, I don't think. And there's that Kronos that you were just talking about, actually, sitting in the rake zone, been discarded.
One of those backups that's a very difficult card to figure out the right quantity of in a deck because it's pretty abysmal on turn 1. But that one Kazusa kind of a feel to it.
Yeah. It's quite tricky. It strikes me as a... No, I think you're right. I mean, you don't want to see it that often. You don't want to see it in your opener, but you also want to see it enough because if you put it in your deck, you're playing around it. So I don't know. Maybe a 1 or a 2 of, but 1 might be too.
I think due to the general nature of Fire Ice wanting to be the aggressor, it's going to often have more than 2 forwards. But while I was having a little bit of a dabble with this list this week, the one problem I noticed with Kronos is that Fire Ice sometimes struggles to get rid of other people's forwards, meaning that when they get their 2 down, it's difficult then to make the Kronos actually manage the discard effect afterwards.
I think that's kind of a side effect of the printing of Interceptor. Interceptor really heavily rewards you for overstacking all of the sort of FF6 forwards, and with the exception of maybe Celeste feeding into 2-card combo stuff, there really isn't a lot of removal built into the FF6 forwards. They're very good at sort of upping the progression of a game, but yeah, removal's not their strong suit without a pretty hefty Sid Reigns package, and I know a lot of people have been dropping that just to fit in more FF6 stuff.
Absolutely, and the Celeste representation that we've seen off of Graham recently has been the 3 cost rather than the 4 cost, so he's been definitely moving away from the traditional removal package that 6 had with Sid Reigns, like you said. Kate Sith coming down, give me that. Give me that, let me have a look.
So the Shadow found the Kate Sith and is now playing it for free. Very good way of picking apart Jesse's hand because we know
Take
there's
the
lots
other
of
Barrett. That's quite good. Do you take this Barrett here? I don't think you...
I wouldn't bother. Personally, I wouldn't bother here.
Seems like
I
he's
think
done it anyway.
I think it's so unlikely the first one is going to die that it's just going to get discarded for CP, and I wouldn't really want to run the risk of turning a dead Barrett in hand into a live backup for next turn.
Yeah. Because oh, EX Kadaj coming down. That's probably... it's tricky, actually. Probably going to be a removal rather than dulling the Shadow. I don't think that Shadow is really going to be blocking anyway, but...
The second damage doesn't really matter an awful lot, but likewise, since we've already got a Setzer down, I think that any other break zone recursion we see from Fire Ice here is going to be in the form of like a random Setzer EX.
Yeah.
The break zone.
Actually,
Much
Terror?
better. Nah, just stemming the bleeding, I think.
An interesting play Jesse could have done there would be to give his Barrett 2+2k and Brave so that he could stop the lock from attacking the turn that follows as well.
Don't you just love when starter deck cards have got so much text that they actually make you make decisions?
sign of a good game, if you ask me.
Yeah, the fact that the starter deck cards in Final Fantasy are very powerful.
Are
is
relevant.
good. Yeah. Now that we have access to them, the Opus 8 starter decks being quite hard to come by, particularly in the UK, made it quite tricky for that because you saw a lot of them in play. But with these, they're quite easy to get by, so you've got very powerful cards straight out of the box, which is quite good.
So
Yeah, and most of them are upgradable into some kind of a tier archetype. Pretty nice.
we're seeing 2 targets flip from this Barret here, Kadaj and Jesse. Probably going to be... Well, that's probably going to be the last Kadaj in the deck. Unlikely he's running a third. But that Jesse, I think he... Does he want it that bad at this point in the game? The only one he's really playing after this is going to be this Cloud, right?
Yeah, I think Kadaj would be a very good hit here because it stems the bleeding. You can remove some of his forwards if you like. You could also just play a 9k forward to block. You don't particularly have to flicker it out if Jesse's feeling particularly pressured.
My expectation here is, that we don't need Jesse right now, since we've already had to commit to a Barret who is unlikely to die anytime soon, except maybe to a random shadow special. Whereas Kadaj
Or
is...
Zalero. Zalero's still a big
Or
card.
Zalero, yeah.
That card's going to be giving me PTSD. Big fan of the new Braskas, and I'm seeing a lot of Zaleros take him out of the equation for me. But we're going to see Noctis come down off of 3 backups here. Is this making Noctis and Kadaj? He's taking that lock offline, essentially, now. Yeah.
I like this play. I like giving... I'm assuming he's giving the Noctis 2k and Brave, meaning that he can't attack through, and even if he does, this Noctis gets to fight off one of Graham's forwards. I like this play.
Feels a lot like the Noctis Carbuncle stuff that was really popular in Opus 7.
Exactly, but it's guaranteed the next turn since Fire Eyes can't particularly deal with a flashy 9k. This is good. Okay, so it does feel like Jesse's stabilised slightly. Graham does still have 2 forwards on board, but he's only on 2. Jesse's only on 2 damage. There's no cards for lock to discard, so that would technically be a free attack. He could just take the damage, and it wouldn't be so much of a problem. Meaning that the lock would also then die. So Graham's in a tough position here. I think he's probably going to lose a lot of tempo because he can't really attack at this point. Unless you play
Sabin, though. Unless you play Sabin, though.
Still a fairly poor trade to attack in with like a 9k lock and take a point of damage just to lose your shadow. Correct?
So we've made Sabin 9k, and we
Take the damage, do the Sabin special. This is quite a big turnaround. That's going to deal 10,000 damage to probably the Barret. Looks like he's taking the Noctis. Looks like he wants the damage.
Not here just to keep the oppression going. I feel like with Fire Ice, once the door of opportunity slams shut in your face, it doesn't really reopen. So you have to find the most elegant path to keep attacking every turn.
I suppose keeping that Barret out of action is probably going to be quite simple for Fire Ice anyway, and that's probably where you want to leave it as well on the board. Tap down, unable to do anything.
I think as well, once any player's hand is empty, even drawing that 1 extra card per turn off Barret, it's going to be very difficult to leave yourself with enough cards in hand that Lock isn't just going to empty again the next turn if Lock gets to turn sideways.
So passing back over. Jesse now on 3 damage.
Brave and 2k on Barret here is my guess, yeah.
It's going to take him to 11. What's his damage now? He's on 2 damage on Graham's side, which means that Sabin's still quite a way away from being active, but that's definitely something to play around. Having him access to a 9k ping every turn is... We were talking about FF6 not really having much removal when, well, that's probably the removal that it's been gifted recently. That, however, is quite a good hit for the Tifa, though. Tifa
is very good right now.
Very powerful.
There is some dulling effect in in this 6 deck. So you got the Celeste, the 3-cost one that dulls on attack and freezes. So that's really helpful now.
Kind of a shame to lose a couple of Yojimbo.
Indeed.
That's true.
We've seen a Titan and 2 Yojimbos go to the bottom of the deck now. Needs a little bit of a shuffle, doesn't it, really? Get those EXs back to the top, get some free kills.
An interesting play that Jesse could be building up to. He has the Opus 8 starter cloud in his break zone, and he does have 2 7 forwards out at the moment. If he plays Tifa, that's 3, meaning that next turn he could crack the miner to get this cloud back and kill any of the forwards that are on Graham's side.
By that time, I reckon Sabin will be a little bit scarier than Locke.
Yeah. So killing the Sabin that way is guaranteed, which is quite.
Kain is a very good hit there for Barrett reasons.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like the negative of an EX burst.
How many damages? So, I mean, the Vayne wouldn't do... If Jesse plays the Tifa, the Vayne wouldn't do anything on this current board because the Tifa prevents his guys from being dull, or am I reading that wrong? No, I'm reading
It gives them Brave for attacking, prevents them on damage 3 from being broken by break effects. So,
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, so listen to me pretending I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the Tifa's still very good. But the Vayne is a very nice hit. So we've got a 9k and an 11k on Jesse's side. That's a pretty important board. Although Graham has shown that he's able to kill off Jesse's massive forwards with well-timed shadows, although I believe all of his shadows are now in the bin. Nope, there's only one in the bin. Okay, so there is still a shadow floating around somewhere, meaning that he could do the same again if so needed. And getting that Sabin up to the tasty damage 5 ability of being able to deal something 9k on attack as well.
So the problem that Jesse is currently looking down now is that Sabin is online next turn. We've got Graham sat on 4 damage, which means that he can turn that into 5 quite easily, turn that Sabin online and punch for 9,000, removing that Tifa.
And then Barrett's going to shrink as
Barrett,
that and not be able to block the
Sabin.
strike.
I mean, the Sabin's a pretty free attack this turn. He hasn't used the Sabin's ability yet, meaning that he can kill the Tifa.
There he is. Genesis is going to really dictate the pace of this game now. Remove that Barrett completely for the next 2 turns and allow Sabin to remove that Tifa fairly simply with the 1 card in hand as well. This strategy stops you from worrying about any kind of counterplay, and it makes things a lot more linear. So I think the most Jesse can hope for here is a big solid EX burst off the top.
Of which he has a few.
Oh, Sid Reigns, he's playing the gentleman's game.
He is as well.
I felt like the new Heroic Zidane did a lot of Sid Reigns' work, but took up less slots. Sid Reigns doesn't really do an awful lot on his own unless you're playing against YRP, whereas you sort of need a burn backup as a supplement, and it was too difficult to fit in all of these ingredients alongside all of the fancy new stuff that Interceptor makes viable.
Have you been dabbling with Fire Ice this set, have you, Steve?
What was that, sorry?
You've been dabbling with a bit of Fire Ice yourself this set?
Oh, I can't put it down. You know, I think it's probably the most fair discard deck there is. You know, it doesn't entirely pilot itself, but it is very powerful, and it's the one thing you can usually rely on to stop YRP being the only deck in the format.
I think it's a really cool way to have its own aggression in this game. It doesn't just completely, trounce you down with making hundreds of forwards and being really brain dead and swarming and things like that. It's quite a calculated game with when and where it discards and when it builds and things like that. I think
the very cynical truth is that aggro decks a lot of the time are quite boring, and Fire Ice and WoW, your aggro decks of the last opus or 2, have actually been very interesting to pilot, and there's a lot of maths that goes into them, unlike...
Was that WoF that you just mentioned being interesting to pilot?
There were interesting variants,
Okay.
I don't think that play Rain and 2 guys on turn 3 was necessarily the most interesting variant, but there were some cool other options. We see a Sephiroth as another little bit of oppression here. I'm not feeling good about piloting Earth at this moment.
Yeah, Sephiroth's going to come down and he's taking the back off of him. Absolutely take the back off him because he's still he's frozen, isn't he? Not showing up in this client, so he's got 2 backups and 2 cards to deal with these 5 forwards, and he's sat on 6 damage. My apologies.
I'm confident in saying there is absolutely no way, and I don't even think 1 EX burst would be enough.
No, we've had 2 EX bursts, and one of them was a Noctis on 5. Unfortunately, it was Noctis on 5, and not the 6. So we could have had a free piece of removal there, but Noctis isn't that broken. He's just pretty good.
Let's wait till you see the Opus 15 one.
You heard it here first. Right.
So we've just had a pretty good, strong showing from Graham's Fire Ice here against Mono Earth, which didn't really feel like it got off the ground. It started building steam, but the discards and the dull and freeze really stopped Jesse from getting to where he needed to be.
So that's going to be our first win of the day over to Tiltmaster Flex, Graham. Let's get him up here for a quick chat about how that just went. How's it feeling?
It's feeling okay. I kind of expected something about like this going against ice, or well, six in general. And yeah, stabbing at the end, hitting the 5th point of damage and blowing up Tifa, that definitely sealed the game.
Really vile card.
Yeah,
I was quite vocal in my opinion at the start of the game that I thought the Earth was reasonably well positioned against ice. Partly at the generate EX bursts thing, but do you think that it's just that Fire Ice has gotten pushed that much more this opus?
I mean, Fire's obviously got quite a big boost. Ice, not so much, I don't think.
But the combination of the two also gained a lot because a lot of the best Fire cards were in FF6, which kind of sits quite nicely with what Fire Ice wants to do already.
I hear that Interceptor dog is pretty good.
Yeah.
He's a nice little woofer.
What a good boy.
Sorry for interrupting, but yeah. It just feels like the deck gained a lot. It gained different directions and stuff. And against decks, maybe a more FF14 focused Mono Earth could give it a little bit more trouble, but FF7 you need the time, and Fire Ice just isn't going to give you time.
Yeah, I think this Earth deck relies on the EX burst, but it doesn't have enough EX bursts. This should really be Fire Earth. I think that's the way you want to play FF7. If you're going for really EX burst heavy, then you get sort of 5-drop clouds and everything. You get a lot of the backups and the Beliases, and they're just like the small combat tricks that will turn things in your favor quite early on because they're cheap and they're getting you the draw. I think
Every single opus, there's a couple of cards that really pleasantly surprise me, and I think they read terribly, but play a lot better than that when I eventually get around to giving them a shot. The new Power Barret, way better than it reads.
Yeah.
That card's really, really good.
Like,
Especially
7k kills a 7k.
Yeah.
Especially in combination with Zac as well. I've seen a lot of people doing the two in tandem, and it basically kills any forward that you want.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something I want to be looking at in the future. So yeah, I think that's where I want this to go. But yeah, I think you just got very early, good strong start, and discarding is always a horrible feeling when you've got high cost cards very early on. I mean, I'm running the Barretts, I'm running the Tifas, I'm running the Cecils, the Vince. It's just there are so many high cost cards that I need the card advantage and the ability to pay for.
And then being in the position to deal with the two for the turn you played it, kind of just sealed it.
Yeah, definitely, I would agree with that.
I think going down the Mono Earth route as well kind of limited your backup options. Those row members probably haven't seen play in quite a little while. I think searching those out and playing those might not be the sort of tempo shift you need as well. So it would be interesting to see.
The only deck I've seen them in a really long time has been the Cloud OTK deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think I tried to put too many things into one deck. But that's why I like playing Final Fantasy.
Exactly.
Because you can do all these different things, and even if it doesn't work in a meta way, it'll still be a good time. That's why I love EX bursts, honestly. Just to completely ruin someone else's day, hitting a Titan 6 point of damage with a Noctis on the field, that's just...
Or, watching...
Certainly nowhere else I would rather lose.
5th point of damage. That was quite satisfying.
Alright, excellent. Well, that was a pretty good first game. So let's get Steve D and Rynnshaa up next. You guys good to use Octagon? We're back online now, so...
I'm cool with anything, yep.
Excellent, that's brilliant.
Currently can't connect.
You might need to reload your client, but it does work, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I'm already in the lobby, so I would assume it would work.
Same. But I did have to close my client down again.
Alright, should we move down then, Steve?
Love to.
That was banging. When you went hand open, Jesse, I thought it was going to be pretty tricky for Gray to come back from that. I thought it was going to be pretty tough.
So I thought it was I felt it was a strong position when you drop the Barret and you get at least one attack in.
Yeah.
I feel like the Barret's then worth it.
Yeah.
But then just not getting the cards you need. And I think Kadaj is a card that you really don't want to see early.
Yeah.
You need to have your board set up, and it ends games for you.
Yeah.
I felt like you should have taken the Jesse when you took the Kadaj.
It's that hindsight. Well, I had the
Yeah.
Jesse in hand and everything, and I was like, I'm probably going to have to discard from this lock anyway. Nothing's going to still be standing at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just playing against different decks, isn't it? I haven't actually played against Fire Ice in a very long time.
The
So it's just
Kadaj
learning the matchup.
the Kadaj on the Noctis was pretty scary as well, to be fair. But I drew the out. That's essentially what that game was. I just kept drawing the out.
Yeah, that was definitely it. Is every time I played something, you had a answer to it. After I played the Barret, I got one attack off, and I think after that you removed every card I played, and then some. Getting rid of that Enacro and stuff, and the miners.
Oh, the miner. I left the Enacro.
I was gonna say, like, at that point,
Particularly relevant.
I was praying for like a Shantotto, and I was just like, oh no, I don't even get to draw from Barret. There's no comeback from this. So yeah, that was just the nail in the coffin there.
Alright, I'm gonna have to let's see, can you
Okay, let's see.
I put the game up on the stream if you can't find
yeah,
it.
I'm gonna have to go
I think I have
into your
found
stream
it.
because my Octagon's decided that
Or have I just ruined that for them? Ah, cool.
it's gonna be destroyed. Let's jump in there.
I mean, somebody's got a hand of 9 cards right now, so I don't know if everything's going all right. I'm assuming we're just getting things ready first.
Right, nope, they're started. Looks like Dan's taken them all. I don't think Steve did. No more from Steven.
Okay.
The turn 1 Art Mission put 1 card back. Tombury's seeing going to the break zone. That's alright, that seems pretty good. Art Mission only putting 1 card back is quite strong. Seems like
it's mind games there, isn't it?
I'd almost feel bad about playing that Art Mission.
I mean,
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It can't feel great.
I mean, I guess Cloud of Darkness, he might have wanted to replace its high cost, but I guess you want to keep it in hand for a bit longer.
That's really interesting. I mean, you probably take the monster to limit Gao options later on, right? I don't think Cloud of Darkness is really doing anything for a while. If he's paying for that to break your forwards, then he's probably breaking backups for it.
That could have been the card you just drew, though. So
you're not taking anything, yeah, or that, or you could just take nothing. It seems like a pretty bad hand overall.
Which once again surprises me that he only put 1 back in and tried to keep everything.
Oh, not bad, but you know,
it's
they're
the,
not
like
good
he has
cards
the
to tap.
ICP for the Emperor. He has the ICP for the Gestal. He's got a couple of backups. It's a fine hand.
Yeah. So there he is, Realm coming straight to hand. That's going to fish up some monsters next turn if he can hopefully.
I was going to say, if he could drop another backup, that would have been ideal, but it's a little bit tough right now.
Maybe just playing the slow game. We're knowing that, not knowing what Dan's doing, I suppose, is probably going to give him, put him on the back foot quite a bit. But we were seeing 2 forwards go straight to the. Oh, look, Kate Sif, Rufus break zone to make that Ice Kadaj freezing.
He foresaw it, and he knew that one of his guys was going to get frozen anyway. So he knew playing another backup wasn't worth it. He's still going to have to discard 2.
He's going in. I think he's probably going to make that loss as well.
Automation freezer on top.
Absolutely. Oh, another 2. 6. Oh no, move loss back. Picks the Yazoo. Oh my goodness. Dan, what are you
I don't
doing?
know what's going on now. He's still got the 9 cards in hand for me. So.
Oh right. Yeah. Well, he's on 5 in hand currently, without playing a card.
He's thinking about what he's discarding.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's just paying 2.
He's discarded lots for Yazoo.
So, why would we not play Loz there? Do you think?
I can only think
He's going to make a backup because he's going to make a
or...
lightning backup. There we go. Make
so you need to leave that Kate Sif up for something else, or it's not worth
it. We had some test games, Dan and I, and every single time he sees an Eddie Kadaj, he can't help it but do this sort of thing. You can't help it. It's too much fun. It's like, no, your turn. You start over. Start again.
Yeah. It puts you in such a powerful position. You're getting 2 cards on the board. They're delayed by at least a turn. It's just...
And it's strong in a way, but it's also very vulnerable.
Mhm.
If
Absolutely.
Steve has the answer here, or can just take his time and set up, and Dan can't punish quickly enough,
Yeah.
then the game's probably over.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the...
I'm very
issue-
curious as to what the last card here is in Dan's hand, because keeping the laws, playing the laws and keeping the Yuzu, and then playing the Yuzu out this turn off of the Crow plus Kate
Mhm.
Sith is
Mhm.
probably the only way that I can think of that he maintains momentum.
Mhm.
Right, I'm just going to quickly leave this stream and try and get it sorted, because
Mhm.
that hands being wrong is just messing with my head quite badly.
So first damage, Cleone. Second damage,
Second
Ton Betty,
damage,
putting
Ton Betty.
another card in his hand.
This isn't looking good, to be
He's
honest.
going to be able to search for a mirror or Tom Breeze. Is he going to get the mirror? Is it mirror?
I don't expect to see a mirror here. We've seen it at Tombreys in the bin. That seems to be more likely.
Fine. I want a dream though. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Tom
Tom
Breeze.
Breeze.
It's the correct card, I believe. It's going to
Well-
put him on 8 cards, 3 backups next turn. This had better be a good backup.
And he can get rid of that Kadaj immediately, can't he, with the Tom Breeze? I guess that's the advantage of it.
Hmm.
And you don't have to worry about your backups being frozen, delayed anymore.
Mm-hmm. I think we also saw 2 Loz go to the break zone.
I'm just trying to check that, but I can't. I'm not sure. What card did he?
He discarded.
No, it was the same Loz.
It was one loss.
It was one loss.
Nyx and whatever he discarded for the Kate Sith on turn 1.
But if he wants to, he's always got the Crow to grab back any character. If we try and get a forward down, just deal a bit more and try and make this a very quick game.
Mhm.
I think that's an option for him certainly.
That's
As long as
what
it's not
he's.
a monster like a goblin being faced down.
That's what he's aiming for.
Mm.
See the discard Goblin for the Alchemist. Playing early Celeste.
Yeah, I mean he's only on 2 damage. It doesn't feel like the ideal thing to do.
Well, there's your mirror.
Ah!
Nah, he's gonna play
Yeah.
a realm. He's gonna search a Goblin.
Probably going
You've
to
got to
find...
go for the realm there, haven't you? You need to get forwards down straight away.
Well, he's gonna search a Goblin and use the Celeste attack to get a bit of value going.
CP back or something.
That's
Yeah.
where he's most likely to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just outvaluing Dan. Dan has to win the game very, very quickly just from
Oh.
his early
Swamp Monk!
I was not expecting to see Swamp Monk. Wow.
One of the really nice things about Realm is being able to search forwards out of your deck into play.
Yes.
Hmm.
Something like Swamp Monk, you wouldn't play it on its own, but when Realm can search it,
Mm-hmm.
that's a really, really powerful play.
It's only taken 7 opuses for Swamp Monk to finally want to be in a deck. Lord
I
knows
don't
we
think
tried
it
to play that
wants to
card.
be, it's just kind of forced to be. You don't really have another choice.
It's true. I mean, there are some actually pretty solid 2 CP monster forwards that you can choose. Like when you the other goblin,
Yeah,
the
the
2
two-drop
CP
goblin.
5k
Yeah,
deals
The
1.
Fire Goblin.
It's good,
Yeah.
solid little card.
It's really powerful. You can get Kobold Droid Yin if you really want to go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not in this deck, but yeah. I mean, I think the advantage of Goblin over Swamp Monk and a lot of the other 2-drops is that you don't need to actually pay. It's a 0 cost ability,
Yeah.
which means that even if you're really struggling, you've always got a way back in.
So, ooh.
Alright, so the Yuzu's going to the break zone. It's going to dull and freeze. Probably the Cloud of Darkness.
I was going to say, this is suddenly turned, like from what it was at the start of the turn.
Would it not be the sellers?
No, the Sellers is already dull.
Can you-
So you
D-
get
yeah,
a lot
but
less
sorry.
value.
I mean for the. Wait, sorry. No, for the Yazoo effect, dull and freezing it, just keeping
yeah.
it frozen. Wouldn't that be?
Not unless you're going to get another point in this turn,
Mm,
which I don't see happening when the Cloud of Darkness is active.
mm.
This way, at least, he can continue a bit of momentum. But he's a long way behind at the minute.
He's going to take potentially 3 damage next turn with that Swamp Monk. Though it looks
Yeah.
like it's time. Oh,
That's nice.
oh.
Kill
Is he going for the discard as well?
Discard.
Glacier is still a strong
Yeah.
card. Glacier is
I'd-
still a strong card.
Yeah. I mean, I think losing the Sid isn't all that bad. I don't think it's ever really going to get used,
Mm.
but it still hurts to lose 2 CP when you've only got 2 backups down.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're just going to trade some points of damage.
Mm.
Curious as to why Steve
Yeah.
got rid of the
Gestal.
ice when he's got the
Probably has another one in his
Swan
hand.
in
Would be
play.
my guess.
He did, yeah. But it kind of
Yeah.
stranded the Swamp Monk is all.
Yeah, I mean, and see what's to pay from the hand.
The way we're
get
going
the
to get
Swamp Monk
Celeste
chuck.
back to hand.
I think this is just going to be. They're going to keep punching themselves for damage, and they're going to hit a point where somebody's like, I can't take any more, and they start blocking.
It depends, because Dan started the turn with 5 cards in hand.
Hmm. But his board state, he's basically 2 forwards down, I'd say. I'm counting Swamp Monk as a forward, basically.
Yeah, but that's...
Ultimately, that Cloud of Darkness could use it as food for what
Mm.
she's dulling and freezing when she attacks, which could be quite
The
good.
Edward Force in a discard. Can you see how much? Yeah, the Sellers discard because it's the card that we know about. Don't really want to give free information by discarding another card.
Yeah, and it just feels like
Lost
he's not going to.
for
Steve isn't
Cloud
going to
of
come back into this game
Darkness
a lot of it.
The Cloud of Darkness might have been a bit greedy, to be honest, but we'll have to see.
Drawing up to 3 backups online.
He's only on 4 damage. There's plenty of time yet. He can trade 2 points back himself. If
I
he
don't
wants
think-
to, although that seems risky with the crown.
That seems very
your
risky.
opponent has.
Locke's going to take that last card out of his hand, and that's going to do some real work. Libertus.
That would have been.
That would have been very nice to see.
Could be a problem though. That crow is looking mighty fine
You reckon?
right about now, isn't it? Going to steal that Libertus back, make a nice easy play.
Yeah, you can Crow dull the realm. You can use Crow to dull the realm, pick up the Libertus, play the Nyx.
I
sack
don't
the
think you can do that
Libertus,
this
break the
turn
lock.
though.
No, I don't think he's
You
got.
can't do that off 2 in hand. He needs 2 cards to discard for that, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, he would be able to do it, wouldn't he? Yeah, he would be able to do it this turn.
No,
He's got the Nyx.
Oh,
yeah, he would be able
He's
to do it.
found the Nyx.
He's
Is
found
that's
He's getting that.
even
He's
better?
killing it rather
Skip
than-
the step.
He's killing the Cloud of Darkness. Alright. Okay.
He doesn't mind if Loz trades here. He's willing to take that, so he can get 2 fairly easy attacks in, and then showing some sort of block on the Loz. And Locke at this point can't really afford to be attacking anyway, so there's no real worry about losing that last card in his hand.
Gets Yuzu back. He's going to go empty
Yo,
handed anyway here. Most likely.
this is violent.
It was just such a good early start, wasn't it?
There is
I mean,
some-
what was it? It was Kadaj.
He found
13-1.
Kadaj. That
Yeah,
was the
that's all
play.
you need. And one other.
Have you got
Remnant.
odd or even backups? Good. Kadaj works.
Hashtag in.
Innit?
Oh, and he's put all his hands down.
I remember when we were chatting rubbish about these cards, man. We saw them and we were still playing with Dark Kadaj, and we were like, "There's no way you'd pick these over Dark Kadaj," and here we are, bodying mans with the
Yeah.
new brothers.
I'm happy to turn around and say that I was wrong.
Yeah.
Just to check, am I the only one not playing ice in any way in this?
Yeah.
I'm starting to think there's a meta here that I'm missing.
Nah, it's just ice is kind of fun at the minute.
Yeah, making your opponent discard their whole hand and then can't do anything. I love those sort of plays.
You discarded what 2 cards to effect in our game?
He did
Not
that from
quite.
2 cards in hand. He lost a backup, but that was 2 cards in hand.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nyx is really powerful.
Nyx is an incredibly powerful card. I actually feel responsible for this because after you showed me the power of Libertas the other week. I saw Dan playing this, and he had Crows, but no Nyx and Libertas. I was like, you should just give him a go. And it's done this, and I feel bad. I'm sorry.
Very, very powerful.
What do you guys think about the Rud rather than the forwards? Do you think he gives anything really?
What's
Rufus,
that?
job member, Turks, just the backup.
The Turks. Oh, the
Yeah.
rude. Ideally, you want to pick between. You want to pick either rude backup Reno forward or Reno backup rude forward,
Mm-hmm.
because you want to be able to get both backup and forward off of Rufus,
Mm-hmm.
and they both benefit from having the other in play either way. Got the Sid Olstein here, which is a
Yeah.
nice
What
start
do
to
you
coming
reckon you
back
actually
in
want to
again.
blow up here?
I want to get rid of the.
I don't think they're.
Quite difficult.
I think it's just a based on
probably
look
wanna
through the
get-
break zone, see what he could draw next, and play numbers here. Because, I mean, you don't kill the Loz. I don't think. Oh, he does kill the
think-
Loz.
no, I
You
think
do
you do
not.
kill
If
the
you
Loz.
You
kill
do
it,
kill the
you.
Loz.
No, if you kill the.
Take the discard.
Like it seems like
What did he-
because
what
now
did
You
he
you're
discard
got?
chaos.
Chaos.
Oh, you discarded a dark card.
You've got a dead
That's
card in
okay.
hand. Then.
Yeah, then you can
you
take
said
it.
Olstein can block the party. Your realm can block the.
Well, all he has to do really is
Nixon, you're
attack
not
with
dead.
Yazoo, and he's either going to kill the realm, or he's going to dull and freeze that Sid. I think he's just waiting out now. Yeah.
Oh,
attacks
you need
with
to
the
block this
Yazoo.
with. He
He has to block it.
has to block it with a certain character.
Yes, block it with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
he has to block it
yeah,
like that. He
yeah,
survives, and this is just massive value now, isn't it? There's no. Eventually, he's going to have to kill that Yazoo, and it's just.
There's still a swamp monk that's kind of sat here not doing much.
There is
but-
still one in
There is.
Steve's hands that can still be animated. But what do you do? What's he gonna do? He's just gonna pass.
It's gonna pass. It's probably a fine pass. We'll see what he follows up with.
Make a backup. Make another crow.
Yeah.
Stop it!
Terrible.
Stop it! 3
No, the thing I
CP
want-
dollar guy next turn. Put a card back in my hand. Say summon.
Get back the loss so that my guys are nice and big again.
Can you think of any way back here, or?
Sid
Feeling
Olstein special.
It feels like he didn't quite. The turn where Steve had 8 cards in hand, it felt like his deck just didn't have a way to really take advantage of how far ahead he
Yeah.
was in that
Yeah.
moment,
I think you're right.
and it's kind of fallen apart from there.
Like, that was a very aggressive start. I don't think there are many decks that could win back
He's made
against
the
that.
back with the Swamp Monk duel
Yeah.
and Nyx. He's not out of it yet. There's plenty of stuff that he could be able to do here to come back into it.
Yeah, but swinging with that Swap Monk.
That's
it feels
interesting.
Like
And
you're
often,
losing a blocker there.
Yeah, but what's gonna happen?
like,
Anything.
an
can
Unless he's
happen.
got a way of
be
killing.
extremely powerful, for example.
I
Just
think you
off
just
the
let
top
the
of my
damage
head.
through, don't you?
I mean, I don't. I don't
Take the
really
point.
see the point of blocking.
Yeah,
I think-
there's no reason to.
I
Reno
think you just take that
forward.
one.
I think you take it up to 6, to be honest. You know that they can't.
Oh, you've got a card in hand that you may not want to throw away. You may want to throw away. I
That's
don't know.
that's horrible to see.
Gonna put another one of the brothers back in his hand.
Yeah, and that's going to work. With,
That's a card in hand. That's
Damage,
3
this is just-
CP.
Yeah.
Picking up the Yazoo.
well,
It's
that's
from the deck.
Well, he's got the discard from lock. Discards the loot. So he's got a Yazoo, but he's got a Yazoo in play as well.
Hmm.
So I'm curious as to, is he out of losses?
Maybe he has Cloud of Darkness in the break zone or something. Has he seen a Cloud of Darkness? Is Dan playing Cloud of Darkness?
I haven't seen.
Can
it,
crack his
but
own
I-
Yazoo that way. Play another one. It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, he can use his Kuro to get his locks back, his loss
So-
back anyway. So it might be that he just doesn't have a Yazoo break.
Yeah, Steve's using Alchemist. Here we go. Discarding a forward. I was just eyeing up that card, so it's going to let him search for any forward from his deck.
I mean,
And he
I'm
still
trying
has
to
2
think
in
of a
hand,
card.
so this could be up to 5 CP.
I can't think of an ice or water card that would stabilize this.
Oh,
Ah,
Yeah, another realm. He's gonna get
course.
some more.
he's going to get 2 monsters out.
We'll see what he gets. Maybe.
Flannery scale too.
What's the?
Yeah, you don't want to play those right now.
Goblin can.
No. There's the 2-drop ice monster that freezes on ETB and discards on
Ooh,
moving to the
that's
break
true.
zone.
Oh yeah.
Watch Hornberries.
Go and get a Tomberries.
I think he just doesn't have any cards to put up, I'm guessing.
Taking the last card
The
out of
card.
Dan's hand, it's pretty powerful. Just give him as little food to play with as you can. I thought we might see. Well, I wasn't actually sure. I think the ice monster that you mentioned before is like the
Lancer
robot
or something?
Lancer unit. Yeah. ETB like
Lancer
freeze a
unit.
guy and then crack him to discard or something.
I think this has got to a game right. It's just Dull Crow to Dull Sid and then attack with Yazoo. There's no. Oh, okay. So I don't want to show off.
That's also
That's showing off there. That's
quite tasty. Is that? We'll put this light cloud into play.
That's a powerful card.
what do you think of that light cloud there?
Good. Really
Yeah.
good.
Do you think it fits in this deck? It gives you the search for Kadaj, which then just gives you more search and just.
Searches backups as well. It's pretty powerful on a forward.
Nice engine. He's got the Elena he can use to discard to play the Loz if he gets it back off the crow.
And on top of that, Dan's still got 22 cards in his deck, so he's got room to just blade things. In fact, he's doing it right now.
Yeah.
He's going to do that to remove one, then the Crow's going to remove the other.
Yeah.
And...
Crow's going to build the other.
That's got to be game there, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know what I'm going to start playing now.
He's done a lot of work, that little boy. And he just turned up.
Yeah. Alright. Well, how are you feeling now that you've seen all of the decks? How are you feeling about playing up against the Ice Lightning and the monsters? You confident with your 6 or?
I feel like this is a matter I probably want to be playing Kadajin over Sephiroth.
Hmm.
So I might lose out on a couple of points there, but overall, the deck's powerful, and either I can use that to win, or I can't. We'll see.
Yeah, and I think that's Steve taking the defeat there. No, not really. One second.
All right, shall we?
Let's
Bring him back in?
yeah, let's get him out and have a little chat, shall we?
Yeah. Let's see how it goes.
Well then, how did that feel, guys?
How did that feel?
Well, widened by 3 ring sizes. Yeah, it's yeah. That was rough. I think the problems for me was that Swamp Monk wasn't really going to do anything. Swamp Monk excels in the games where there is one big thing stopping Lock. It's a very good complement or a good dance partner to Lock normally when there is one big thing, like the Barret in game 1, who's going to Lock a lot. But not only was my FF6 open, especially fast, there were also too many I couldn't really attack into most of the time, so it was a bit of a wasted realm. And I think that the very last turn I would maybe have done a little bit better if I hadn't managed to EX burst another remnant skillfully into hand, because I could have searched up the Renoa and flickered Allstein that turn. I didn't have the capacity to take 2 cards and do that out of hand.
Well, we were talking about how brilliant it was losing to EX Burst earlier, weren't we?
Yeah, it's not in that aspect. Not not like that. Not when you're trying to come back and you lose. It's when you're losing and you come back. That's when it feels good.
No, it's...
Yeah, it was a really cool list, and not the sort of thing I expected. We were several turns in before I saw a lightning card, and I was thinking, okay, sort of fairly normal-ish mono ice, maybe, you know, trying not to or deliberately not taking the Cloud of Darkness or anything from hand with a turn 1 Kate Sith. I guess this is a fairly normal mono ice that just doesn't want to give me backups earlier necessary. Yeah, then all of a sudden the lightning combo pieces come out, and while I don't think lightning is an amazing deck on its own, there are so many good lightning combo cards.
Yeah, it seems to work really quite well together, just because of how much you can recycle the remnants. I don't know if that's the idea that you had behind it, Dan.
So yeah, I mean, I like how the remnants are searchable. I can search Kadaj with a cloud. I like how the turn 2 I had where I froze both of his backups. That's the kind of really like aggressive start I like, because then they're facing down 2 forwards, one of which is always hard to kill because they either lose another character or they discard, and they've got less CP, so it forces them to either play like a really like discarding loads of cards to play stuff, or just taking a really slow start.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on that topic, I kept the opening hand I saw because I think there was 4 backups in it, maybe. Well, 4 out of 6 I think was backups, and I thought the curve looked great. I had a very minimalist Artemisian because the next turn opened for a much better setup, or rather, turn 2 into turn 3 looked like it was going to be a really good turn for explosive backups, and then out of nowhere comes this double freeze, and it's like Legend Celeste on steroids.
That did feel pretty good.
I was just saying to them, Dan, that I knew that you wouldn't be able to resist.
I couldn't. I mean,
You
like,
just can't.
I see an avenue, and it's especially against a deck like Steve's, where they need to set up like they want their backups, and then it's really hard to come back. I just see it, and I go, right, they're not playing a game for a turn, and then I get 2 forwards out. And Crow did a lot of work as well. I really like the addition of Nyx and Crow into the list.
Yeah.
Would you say that sort of starting hand's fairly consistent for that deck, or?
Well, I've gotten it a lot. Kadaj searching the others is quite good, so you're always guaranteed 2 freezes if you play really into it. And Kadaj himself is searchable as well, like I said, with the cloud that I play. And the cloud's removability, I've used it a lot more than I thought I would. It's quite a strong, because this deck's quite aggressive. I like the ability to just go, nah, you know what, that big forward that's otherwise going to cause me a problem, it can just go away. It's a really nice ace to have up your sleeve if you're pushing damage or you just don't care about your deck size like you do against aggressive decks. So yeah, deck did what it's supposed to.
Yeah, it won you the game, I guess. So
just see if it wins the next 2.
Well, hopefully not. I'd like to get a win at some point this evening.
All right.
Excellent. Yeah. So I would like to have Steve and Jesse on next, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Before we go into winners and things like that. So if one of you 2 would like to make a little room on Octagon, and then I can jump over.
Yep, sure. I'll jump on there. Just
You okay to do that, Steve?
I knew you wouldn't be able to resist, man.
I just love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, I had to take it, man. You saw it. We were just saying, man. They're just go on.
I thought it was I thought when he starts the turn with 8 cards in hand and 3 backups untapped, that maybe, just maybe, that he was probably he's got to be able to make a play there to come back into it of some kind. And then it didn't happen, and I was like, okay, so I don't see how he wins now, because that was his moment and nothing happened. So yeah.
I think this deck does lose to like sturdy decks that can come back quite quickly, or big forwards. There's a lot of pieces I need, but it's turns like that turn 2 that really like help. It helps get the tempo, and like it's really hard to lose the tempo if you keep throwing stuff like that at them. So,
right. So, who have you got? Who have you got, Dan? Who have you got?
So we've got Water Ice against Mono Earth. I think I think Water Ice has got a good shot here, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, it's got a lot of dull effects. It's got a lot of freeze and discard, and as we learned from Graham's game against Jesse, the keeping Earth off CP, off cards in hand, is really good at slowing them down to the point that they can't keep up with you. So whilst Steve's deck's a lot slower than Graham's, the fact that he can do the same strategy as Graham will really help him in this matchup, I think.
Yeah.
Celeste is also really interesting because bounce against Earth can be quite powerful when they're not playing stuff like Noctis, Gladiolus, the full 15 package. Because that's the stuff that really comes down quite cheaply and efficiently, and if you don't have that, then stuff like bounce can be quite bad for you, because all of you guys have summoning sickness, and they also don't really do much when they come in.
Yeah, definitely. That's the big key. Like, Barrett's like a big part of this deck. Tifa's a big part of this deck, but they have to stick around to do something. So if Steve can keep up the tempo by keeping him from attacking, by keeping these guys dulled or in his hand, then it's going to be going to be a rough time for Jesse. But we've seen 7 do work. 7 can definitely come back and smash people just by sheer numbers. So it's not one-sided, I think. Jesse could do something here, but there's a lot working against him, I think.
Well, we're in game. We've got a turn 1 Jesse in play and a turn 2 Artemisian from Steve, it looks like it, putting
putting
3
back.
on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, both players have exactly the starts they want. I mean, the lock is a 2 CP backup. We saw him pick up the lock again when he played the Setzer, so that was exactly what he needed to do. Artemisian fix his hand, and a Scale Toad to start is an excellent start for Steve. This is precisely what we just said, keeping Earth out of cards so they have to play aggressively.
So forcing him down that Barret route is probably not that's not something you wanna turn over, is it? I know that I don't like staring down a loaded Barret, man. That guy's scary.
It is legitimately the best player that Jesse could possibly have in that situation is an Evoker. And that's what we're saying here. We've got to discard 3 cards played.
Oh, are we just having the power play? Is he going to discard 2 now and play Barret? Oh, he absolutely is. He
Okay.
absolutely is.
This is a strong showing.
It's just sees the Scale Toad. He's just like, nah,
Nah,
I don't want it.
This is where Steve discards 2 to play Sid Allstein and the game ends.
Yeah,
it'd be a very quick round, but we're operating on him not having Sid Allstein.
Oh, plan.
Okay, so plan. Could still
That's
play
not
the
a
Sid
Sid
Allstein.
Allstein.
No. Here we go. Discarding ICP. That's 3. It's a
Lock.
lock. Okay, so we're setting up. Okay. And
This is fine because this means he's going to go to. He's going to draw and deal damage this turn, right? Go to 3. Yeah. He's going to either have to completely empty it and have it be a god draw to make all of whatever it is that he's found, or he's going to end up losing all of it to the Scale Toad and the lock. So he has to spend it, all of it.
That's true. Particularly, he gets the Tifa. That's not a bad hit. That's quite a good hit, in fact. I think having a 10k on board as well as an 11k or a 12k even with Brave, that's pretty good.
I'm fairly certain that Realm next turn with a Flan means that Realm is going to be online so quickly. What is that? Still awesome damage. Oh no! Oh
you know how
no!
we were talking about discarding 2 and playing Sid Allstein?
That was, and that's it. It's too late now. Barrett's now unbreakable, isn't? Oh no, it's damage 3, isn't it?
Yeah,
damage 3. Damage 3. Okay,
damage
so know how much you can push it.
Well, that is a 12k Brave Barret.
That's a 12k Brave Barret. That's pretty big.
As someone who had to face down a 12k Brave Barret in the last game, that is scary.
Ooh, Tom Breeze is good though.
Decidedly
Tom Breeze
smaller
get
now.
the 2k reduce on Tifa. You can attack with the lock, and he can't really block it.
No, that's true. Getting cards out of his hand again.
That's a really, really, really big, big change. They're actually taking the block. He's gonna take that Tifa off of him. He must really want to keep that card. I think
maybe it's another Tifa.
He's just taking the point.
The arrow is from the ETB trigger. That would make sense.
Right.
Okay.
This kind of Vincent from hand. This is just going to get more and more difficult for Steve at this point, though. It's the big weakness of early Scale Toad plays is that it does cost you a bit of momentum, and if your opponent can take advantage of that bit of momentum, then they can really start to just make your life hell.
Oh man, you need to stop flipping your Solid EX burst, I swear to God. At least you're getting a forward out of it, you lucky boy.
If I'm Steve, I'm seeing those 2 Titans go to the bottom, and
yeah, I'm just like wiping another one. So woo.
Every attack against an FF7 deck is quite scary.
So lethal, man. So I'm pretty sure you take the Vincent here. There's no real reason not to take the Vincent here, I guess. Remember is kind of meh. Unless you're looking specifically for something to dump 2 CP into.
Yeah.
You know, I think overall, I think that Vincent's going to be the play. So Realm's going to damage. No, Steve, man. Oh. Tifa is also brave? Question mark.
No, she's not brave.
She doesn't buff herself.
Oh
The
yeah,
only
of
buff
course.
she gives herself is the
Do
unbreakable buff on
apologise.
damage 3.
Do apologise.
As you should, Bradley. As you
Yes.
should.
Cleo
Alright.
to damage. You know what, guys? I'm not inviting you back.
Does that mean I get to do something else on my Tuesday evenings?
Shut your mouth.
Alright, it's gonna search for something and possibly use it to play that Vincent that he just got.
Yeah.
Something bad? Ooh, that plays a Vincent. That plays a Vincent. Vincent plays Vincent.
It's Earth CP.
That's a
No way.
free
Oh, he's
costume.
actually just a raw 10k, isn't he? No,
That's a tanky.
that's pretty good.
This board is quite scary. I'm quite glad I didn't have to face
Oh, he can start breaking stuff with the goddamn Vincents. He doesn't need that damage 5 ability. He just needs the regular one.
this. He could
Breaks lock
really
and
do with
stuff.
a realm here.
Yep, Realm can start bouncing stuff for free.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
he just needs the help.
Needs to draw the cards that are actually in the deck and not in his hand.
He's getting outpaced really heavily right now. It's worth noting that the only forward on Jesse's board that can attack whilst the Tomberries is up is the Barret.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he wants to bluff trade in the Vincent for the Tomberries to allow his Tifa to attack, but that's risky.
Mm.
Yeah, I think Jesse's in a position now where he can just play it safe. It's going to take a lot for Steve to get back into this. Building up his monster count is a good one. I mean, he has to get to the 5 to start bouncing these pieces, but he needs a lot of. There's going to be a lot of effort that needs to go in to get this.
Can play the mirror out.
Let's discard in the mirror.
Discard the mirror for 3 seasons.
Think he might have found his. No, oh, it's one away. It's nearly there. He's coming home soon.
For a
The
realm.
problem is that it might just be a turn too late.
Well, only 3 of them kill him in combat next turn. At the very least. Umaru. That doesn't
Umaru?
break. That doesn't break. You don't break with Umaru.
I mean,
not
let's
bothered
just
about
remember
breaking,
that,
it's just be on 3.
But yeah, Jesse's forwards currently can be broken. It's damage 3 that they can't. So.
Right.
But Umaru is correct. Yeah, Umaru is the cleanest answer to a very fat Earth character. So, and it's a 9k himself, and it does freeze another forward. So this could be quite handy for Steve, especially when he's trying to get back into this game.
Got the Barret attack.
And there's a Vincent for the special. Could also get a Cloud to kill the lock if he so desired. Yep.
Or the Amaro on his next turn as well.
That's true. Although if
Steve
Amaro
Hayes
ships,
in-
if
in-
Amaro ships a 7 character, then the Cloud's trigger wouldn't happen. He'd have to have another 7 character to play because it needs 7 forwards.
This is true. Oh, well,
Guys.
there's your additional 7 forward.
There is the additional 7
And
forwards.
he can afford to go empty-handed quite safely
Yeah,
at this moment in
so-
time.
We're going to the break. now.
Oh, it's that one as well.
Yeah, this is
This is
not looking good.
This is a pasting.
I think we're looking
That's-
at surrender here.
That's a lot of 7 characters, man. And only one of them's a backup.
I
I'm
think
just saying.
surrender.
But then, just like wildfire, Shantoto comes down on Steve's side. Unsag and Hilgigus. 7.
Oh, please be Shantoto. Oh,
Spin the Tifa. Make them ever so slightly more manageable.
He's still just dead to party attacks, right?
I think so.
Plus, it doesn't actually freeze anything; it just dulls it, so the Barrett can attack it anyway. Need some absolute monster of an EX burst for this game to go any further.
So, Tom Breeze. How much do we believe in Tom Breeze? Is there actually any way to not die here on board?
I don't think so.
You take Barrett, you block Branth, and you can block one more, and then you're dead.
You can block a grand total of 1 party attack. Oh.
Never mind.
Well,
Never mind.
you know,
I'll see
those
myself
blocks
out.
we were talking about.
I'll see myself out.
Oh, he didn't even dull the forward, he just made Barrett bigger. Oh man, he just made Barrett bigger. Doesn't really matter. Oh, what an absolute coin flip of a game that was.
That was absolutely carnage.
It was... Steve went turn 2. Scale Toad. Jesse went back up 2-3 into Barrett. And then it was, does Steve have Sid Austin? And it turns out that Sid Austin was the 3rd card in his deck instead of being the top 2. And the game ended from there.
And that's all she wrote, mate.
That is definitely all she wrote.
That is turn 2 scale. That is turn 2 Scale Toad in a nutshell.
It's forced them to go all out, and you just can't deal with it. It's vile. And the fact that he could every single time just get everything down like that was it's pretty impressive. All right, let's get these boys back out.
Mono deck though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's get...
What's good, guys?
Hello, guys.
What's good? What's good? You told me there would be green cards. You told me there'd be wind cards for me to go
Yeah.
nom nom nom.
I was going to say, you just kind of lied to me about what this was, Brad.
What do you mean?
You said it's casual.
It is casual.
It doesn't need to be meta or anything. And then I see 3 ice decks, and I'm just like, well...
Yeah, but you just won.
You know.
Why are you complaining?
Did you see that last game?
Yeah, that was a beautiful start, and I'm very sorry, Steve.
That's all right. I mean, like, I think that ways for me to remove stuff in that deck are very limited. I'm very good at attacking the hand, very good at winning wars, but very bad at actually doing stuff on the field. So it's like, yeah, you know, one in 3 times you'll have a really miserable game. But if it's a deck that relies on really clever trickery or keeping stuff in hand until the right time, those decks you're okay at beating. But then you see these big numbers like 12k on there. I can't count to 12.
I mean, we talked about it in game. It was like, as soon as you played that Scale Toad, I knew I was dropping my hand. I didn't care if Sid came out, because I was going to go wide enough that you sort of forced me to play how I wanted to play there.
The issue in that game is that I had a Sid Elstein in the opener, and I thought to myself, it's too early for this. I don't, apart from having a lock in hand, but not enough FF6 characters, I'm not actually sure that the Sid Elstein is going to be live anytime soon. So the 3 cards that I mulliganed away with Artemisian, and then that kind of led me into Scale Toad being the best on-curve thing I had for a later turn, and I never saw a Sid Elstein apart from irrelevant moments in damage. Yeah, it's...
You played the Scale Toad. He went empty-handed with nothing but Barrett in play, and then you didn't draw the Sid Olstein, and then when the Barrett attacked, it hit Sid Olstein at damage.
I just wanted it more, you know. You've got to want it.
You
I didn't want it enough.
Yeah, but I think if this ends up as a best of 3, so if this was Top Cut or something, you would have the advantage. Because all my deck can ever do is play everything and attack. It's a very simplistic deck. Whereas you can out me, you know what's going to happen next, whereas I'm still guessing what is going to be played.
I'm increasingly suspicious of Scale Toad in decks without ways of catching up to overextension. And I absolutely loved Flan Ice in Opus 10, 10.5 time. Thought it was an absolutely amazing deck. But that is the one deck in the format that is still happy to play 3 Shantotto just as a catch-up mechanism. And being able to play Shantotto multiple times per game through Kuja even. So... I think that maybe a little bit of that is on me, because Scale Toad is a card that baits a very particular kind of game, but I don't know if that deck is necessarily equipped to deal with those kinds of game if your opponent calls your bluff.
Well, I think it's what we were talking about, that the ice deck, when you play Scale Toad, there are going to be so many decks that it does do well against. But when you've only got 3 other opponents, is it actually going to be able to shine in that occasion or not? And it's about playing around the meta and what you expect to see.
Well,
So the
like you can say, essentially the game was a coin flip in whether or not Steve had the Sid Alstein the next turn.
100%.
And if he had the Sid Alstein the next turn, the game probably ends on the spot.
Yeah.
There's something of a joke or meme or something at YYT locals. Steve can't draw Alstein. It is a mathematical possibility. I put 3 of them in the deck just to psych people out because people would call it in a deck list top cut format if I didn't have Sid Alstein, but I cannot draw them. Very good at drawing Edwards, not Sid Alsteins.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think you. Yeah, I think that it was get ahead and go wide, and after that the options are.
We lost you a second there. Jesse, do you want
Sorry.
to repeat that?
I was just saying that that to beat ice, you've got to get ahead and just go wide, because like Steve was saying, unless they're running the Shantotto variant with the fans and stuff, they're not going to be able to really bring it back into the game. So
It's like what I was saying a couple of games ago, is that the door of opportunity shuts very hard in the face of ice decks in general. I think I was talking about fire ice at the time, but just ice in general.
Okay, should we
Yeah, let's have you and Dan up next, if that's all right, mate, please.
all right.
Do it.
Because this is something I gotta see.
yeah,
This is something I
forward to
gotta
seeing
see.
Right, I'll be back in 1 second, guys.
Yeah, we are taking a quick break.
Yeah, if you guys want to take 5 or whatever, we can do that before we move on.
Just for the week.
Yeah. Alright, I'll be back in a second.
No worries. We'll take 5 and come back.
That was a game.
It was mental, wasn't it?
Oh gosh.
It was stumpy. It was stumpy. I really, really enjoy FF7 all of a sudden as an archetype, and I can't put my finger on why, but I think it's Light Cloud. I think Light Cloud is one of the most thought-intensive and flexible and interesting cards in a long time, and that just makes FF7 that much more interesting to me. But my God, Ice can't beat it. Ice can't do a thing. Always scared of the EXs. You're scared of the fact their dudes are big. You've got no removal. By playing monsters, you will yourself into playing less removal. So.
Yeah, because you're playing. The thing with playing Realm is you've got to be careful, because Cleon's. I don't think Cleon's a good card. I think Cleon's a card that baits you into building your deck in a way that loses to a lot of what people want to do. And I think you've got to be careful that you don't get baited into that when playing Realm, because
I think that Cleon is kind of like Opus 4 Legend Celeste. It has one good month every 3 months, and it kind of depends on what people are at the time. When the big Urianger weird Earthwind decks were popular and YRP was popular at the same time, I thought that Cleon was massively, massively underrated, and I won a lot of games on the back of suddenly your opponent has got 6 to 12 dead cards in their deck that they just cannot ever cast because it's that bad for tempo for them. But right now, actually casting your summons is a very lame idea. They're just X's, you know?
It forces you to kind of build in a way that, because not only are you not playing summons, but you're also in water. And not playing summons in water just means that you don't have any way of outing anything ever at all.
Were you talking about the Cleon?
Yeah.
Steve actually said whilst I was playing, he says that it feels very bad against some decks because a lot of decks just don't need to play it, so he's probably going to cut it. If sideboard was a thing, he would definitely be putting it into sideboard. But
yeah, like I would always be happy playing it against YRP. If I knew I was going to play against YRP, probably the Braska deck. I would say maybe like the Earthwind Phoenix decks. If I knew I was playing against them all the time, where the summons are expected to generate a lot of value or require you to tap 5 backups to cast them, then I think it's a really good card. But right now, it's all 1 CP Belias, 1 CP Zilera, 2 CP Hecatoncheer kind of a stuff. I don't mean this room. I mean like the world in general. Just
in general. Yeah. I see what you mean. Okay.
I just like the fact that you can draw a card when you COD as well.
It says draw a card on it, and those words make me way happier in any card game than you have any right to. It just says draw, and it's a massive smile on my face instantly.
see, I don't like cards that say draw because it's normally used against me to great effect. and this makes me very sad.
Because other people are drawing cards and you don't get to.
Yeah, exactly. I need the experts to hit to kill the cards that they draw.
I mean, you get to reveal all the cards off the top of your deck, so it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's not drawing; it's just gaming them. It's different. It's better. No. Have you guys considered anything that you want to change for your decks, given the matches you've now played?
Currently, because I'm trying a slightly different setup than what I tried last week, and I drew absolutely zero of the cards that I put in, so I have absolutely nothing.
I know that exact feeling. Every time I've drawn the Kadaj now, I thought, I don't want you. I want a card I can discard. So it's nice playing in a more semi-competitive way. You get to realise that some cards you're putting in because you just like them, and some cards you're putting in because you need them in.
With respect to this current room, I think I would play 50 completely different cards. If I could make some small changes to the deck that would maybe put me in slightly better standing for this room, I have no idea. I think that Monsters is a deck that sideboards, if you want to call it that, especially well. But I do think that having maybe a slightly higher forward count or something, and maybe even playing Moromaru, wouldn't say no to Moromaru if it's just a very good top deck for putting you a little bit ahead in top deck wars, and that's what a lot of Earth games feel like, is who plays better off the top rather than who plays better on the stack or whatever.
I'm not saying that's true, but there's a reason I play Earth a lot.
I really like the Ursula monks as well, so I guess maybe play that to sort of join in the beatdown fun, or I guess if I was gunning to try and do really well here, I would love to play Rainbow Mill. Three color mill is like my signature baby, and it does well against a lot of stuff.
I have fire.
Is everyone back?
Deck that I was messing around with in the.
Yeah, we're back.
I think
Alright,
we're good. Alright, that I was messing around with when we were getting ready. That I'm quite proud of actually. That I kind of wish that I'd had the guts to queue up, although I probably wouldn't have won again.
That's what I felt like when I came in with Mono Earth. It's about having fun in these times, right? It's not about winning.
No, it's all about winning, but you go have fun when you do it. And fun is freezing all your opponent's backups.
You and I have very different ideas of what fun is.
Well,
I'm pretty much done playing actual serious meta decks at anything other than a sort of regional or a Crystal Cup event, just because I think there are more cards need banned at the moment. I would be totally okay doing a kind of a meta reset by banning
Are we thinking
ban
of
90p Shunt Auto.
Maybe
sorry?
Rampir? Are we talking about Rampir here, I'm assuming?
Rampir, YRP, absolutely everything. I think there's probably 5 or 6 decks I would class as being tier 1, or in the case of YRP, even a little bit better than that at the moment. And I'm not really interested in playing any of them at the moment, because I think the gap between the great decks and the fun decks quite wide at the moment.
Steve, can I ask you a question though?
Yeah, of course.
What do you think about monks?
Great, but they really need more support. Ursula is a phenomenal card. It's kind of like the Mono Lightning problem. Mono Lightning has Rynnshaa, who's great. It's got the Kingsglaives, who are great. Skeleton is an amazing card. Illo is a good card. All you need to do is find 35 other cards. And I think basically the same kind of a problem. Ursula is very good. I would say that both 2CP Yang are very good. 4CP Yang is you've got better. 2CP Yang, you've got a kind of a better Layla Viking that doesn't die to Fina, which is kind of nice. But the nut draws of Yang into something do not at all complement the Fire Earth deck. Like if you want to play a really fast, aggressive opening with some average bodies, you're basically playing a Mono Earth. Fire cards are now liabilities for the next 3 turns. You top deck them and then can't do anything with them. Mono Earth deck, you have to choose between having the consistent Yang openings with like Claris into Kolka, into whichever one of Ursula and Yang you're missing. You basically play like a bad FF50 engine alongside some monks. And I've not been totally convinced by either, but I do think it's fun. I enjoy the Earth monks list I've got, but I don't know if I'd really play it at a Crystal Cup.
Wow, I wasn't expecting such an in-depth analysis of the monks, but that was really good. Thank you for
That
that. I'm in agreement for the most part. I think that monks needs something else to go along with it. It's got a bunch of really cool cards, but just the rest of them that kind of support it either are just barely playable or just just need something else, don't they, to go along with them. I think one of our friends has been trying a lot of like shadow and like a really small fire splash to give it that little bit of a boost in the early game, but has recently been switched to things like Hooded Man to pull Yang and Ursula pieces back from the break zone, which has been pretty cool. But yeah, mental deck. Sorry, what were you going to say before?
Yeah, the statute of spoiler limitations on FF7 on FF4 after years might have passed at this point. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think we still have to call him Hooded Man every time.
The card spoiled itself, right? You can't play it again, so.
Pretty much.
Right.
What do you mean Aerith dies?
What?
I mean, I'd like to point out now I haven't played a single Final Fantasy game at all, ever.
Well, that's
so
your
it's
own
ruined
fault.
So that's an actual
Ruined the
spoiler.
franchise.
Wow.
Thank you guys. Really
The only
appreciate
games
it.
I've finished, and I'm going to show my age here, have been FF1, FF2, and both of the tactics entries. So
Tactics advance, please. Really?
I only have a vague understanding of why Cloud uses so much hair gel.
Because he's
Yeah,
hot.
I wish I could get my hair that spiky without using hair gel, man. It'd be
Dude,
sick.
I wish I had that hair. It was so cool.
That's right.
Someone just gets annoyed at you and you headbutt them and they start bleeding.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gel in your hair. I think that's rocks or knives. Like you've gone to some extreme lengths if you can headbutt somebody to cause them to bleed by your hair alone.
See, I thought this, and then I played Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1.
See, and that's why I don't get it. I haven't played the games. I need to get in, and I just need to binge 1 to 15. So that's going to be fun. Oh, we're in lockdown. It's perfect timing, actually.
I'm coming out, you're running out of time, man. Get it done.
Dan, would you mind making the room for us?
Yep.
Nice one.
Room's up.
Nice one.
Alright, I am waiting for it to load up.
Alright, I'm going to go down lobby 1, or table 1.
I'll join you there. See you guys in a little
Good
bit.
luck, man.
So now that they've gone, which way do you reckon this game's going to go? Without looking at any opening hands, any opening plays, which deck do you think is going to win this?
Fire Ice.
I've got Ice Lightning. I've absolutely got Ice Lightning on this.
I think Ice Lightning's got it. If he gets a nut start like that again, and I think this very much depends on who gets to go first and who gets to go second.
Yeah.
If you dump 2 cards down and then they both get frozen, you're in a bad spot. So I don't actually know if going first is a good call in this one.
I just want to say that Dan is actually Graham's actually just in a bad spot. He's done. He needs to pack it up right now.
Does he?
Yeah,
Just in general, yeah.
He's
Retire.
just
End on a high.
Well, I mean, I've got to do the Ice Lightning, and I'm not looking forward to that. And you get Graham, so I don't know if you're feeling a bit more confident about that. Now that you've seen him play 2 games after this.
Alright, so we got a mull from Graham. And Dan potentially keeping his hand. He's having a good thinking about it. You don't want to see Dan keep his hand, man.
Is that a bad omen?
Yeah, mate. That's good arch, mate. You're done. I'm not sure who won the dice roll. Oh, Dan will be going first. Right, okay. So look, he's gone for the muggle. Serious face. I think it's going to be really close. It's definitely going to be a bit of a dice roll on just who gets to play the game that they want to play.
It's about you have the opportunity to respond.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is looking pretty rough. We're going to
Yeah.
see a Rufus turn 1 making finding some sort of food, some sort of backup to keep us
My
in this
impression
game.
from my horrendous loss against this before is that you're really looking to have that active Ice CP on turn 2, turn 3 at the very latest, so that you can kind of take some initiative and make your opponent lose a turn here.
Yeah.
Discarding a lightning and another lightning to end with 2 lightning guys in play. I tried a lot of mono lightning FF7 stuff back when Rufus was new, and I was really impressed with the power of these openings. Good for consistency, bad for power. And I think you need power if you ever want to beat Fire Ice.
No, I agree with that.
Point out he had to drop the Crow. That's going to feel really bad. Who saw that Crow did so much work in the last game. That's just going to be pretty bad, pretty painful unless he plays one now.
I think Graham's comfortably going to meet this, making 2 backups and trying to force some sort of bigger play out of Dan if he's going to try and do what he did in a similar fashion to what you did to you.
I wonder if this is a setup for Gustalian Empire set into lock on the next turn.
Yeah, probably. I think he's giving himself redundancy and things like that. He also could just play 2 CV backups. Whether we want to keep that much out is because he's going to take him to 2 here. We're going to see Gestalian go to break, to damage even. Rufus coming in. That's the other Gestalian. Might not be seeing Gestalian into lock this turn, but you never know.
He's got it in his hand. It doesn't matter how many go to the damage.
2 CP.
This would be a nice ace turn or something like that. Oh, there we go.
Oh, what was that?
Yes, that's very nice. Well, it's horrible to see, but yeah.
That's a really big change of momentum there.
That's just
Particularly when the low value comes out of the Rufus death ability as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the problem that you were talking about before. I mean, it's got a level of power to it, but channeling it, if you will, is quite challenging, and the setup for it is quite difficult.
I mean, I just think that you're on 1 backup. It's turn 3. Your opponent's got 3. You've just got to keep going. If you drop into the backups and trying to play them, you're not going to have the time because they've got such CP advantage on you.
So Kuja coming down. What a brilliant little card! I think that's that. When you were listing powerful lightning cards earlier, I think this is one of the ones that's definitely on that list. You stick 2 or 3 Kujas in your list these days because it just does so much work for lightning.
I've been playing quite a bit of Earth, Wind, Azuluma sort of a deck recently, and I think Kuja's the best card in the deck, to be honest. It's something else. When so much of the game's power, cards, and real sort of meta lie on the 3 CP mark, Kuja is bigger than any of them and kills any. Sephiroth is a very nice piece of stabilization here.
Yeah, I was thinking, would he take away the backup there and just really throttle down?
I think you're in too many dire straits. The only time I would do that is if I already had another Sephiroth in hand and wanted to kind of bait it out. Because then you get party attack the next turn, trade your Sephiroth for part of the party, and then Sephiroth comes and mops up the next turn afterwards. Not keen on...
Unfortunately, no trigger off that lock, but that means that the damage trading... Because Sephiroth is your wall and lock is your stabilizer, isn't it, at this point?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they know they can't attack with everything because of Sephiroth, and lock, if you can get a few attacks with him in, he starts gaining you advantage again. But they have both been playing their whole hands, being down to sort of 1 or 2 cards at the end of each turn.
A lot of the time, that's all you can do in the face of a really aggressive start. You want to undercommit and then get blown out by a 3 CP Ramu or something.
It's not good when you die with 4 cards in hand.
Not good when you die. Trust me, I've been there.
Man's faced death and come back from the brink. Oh, what was that about Glacier?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Dull and freeze, right?
Yeah.
Dull and freeze because Lock's going to take the card anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this feels a lot like what happened to me in game 1. You get quite an aggressive start against him, and then he just comes back completely. It doesn't matter so much about what you're playing. He's going to play his style and wipe your board quite quickly and control it.
Graham's been working on Fire Ice for quite some time now. He's been working with it probably longer than I'm thinking, but since at least Opus 6, maybe even Opus 5, I'm pretty sure he started dabbling with it.
Opus 5 was sort of my heyday, or when I really fell in love with the deck, and I wouldn't say it was in a particularly good spot then. Definitely one of the best decks in Opus 4, but a really, really rough Daedaluma matchup for a very long time.
Many decks had that matchup, really, didn't they? Daedaluma would come down and just mess you. But he's been playing with it quite a while, so he's very familiar with it, and he's been dabbling with it and tweaking it and proking it and changing it quite a lot. I think he knows how to use that deck quite well.
Do you think those 2 attacks by Dan was warranted? By Daniel was warranted? It gets the lock a free attack there. You know you're going to discard.
I'm a little bit suspicious myself. I think that Elena's best use at this point is sort of slowing it down a little bit.
And a second Glacier's coming
But
out.
Elena can only attack if you control 4 or more forwards or a job member of the Turks forward. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the job member of the Turks clause, and I was thinking, hold on a second, there's not been a goal base here.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, get him out.
I mean, you're on one backup. You're drawing
Is Graham going to go for the ghetto perfect? Can he get that Sephiroth back and take out the Rude?
This is very much how Graham entered the game with me, wasn't it? He started just wiping the board so quickly, and it's not the sort of a deck that I'd expect from Ice. I'd expect it to be a bit more slow, I guess, but the fire in there is really burning through.
It's just the nature of Fire Ice. I think that Fire Ice feels like a much worse deck if you're not playing a lock or something equally as threatening as a lock on turn 2. I think turn 3 used to be the critical turn, but the pace of the game and the indefatigability of the sort of spell-based decks like YRP is such that you need to be very aggressive with anything that empties your opponent's hand or obligates answers.
I'm thinking long and hard over these last 2 cards. It could be mental. So.
You drew some Wild by T promos that turn.
I've still got your Aerith, man. That cracks me up whenever I see it.
Yeah.
Do you reckon it was just double backups, and so
Double backups bluff the Glacier or something like that?
Yeah. He still swung with the lock first, which I think...
it could just be a 4-drop lightning card, and then he wouldn't have been able to play anything.
Yeah.
Another Octo Slash in hand, that's sadistic.
Did it? Oh my god, you're vile. You're a vile man, Graham.
I like that 3CP Sephiroth. Big fan of it in sort of Ice Earth, Mono Ice in the past, but I think that when Scholar is already good in Fire Ice for luck, there's very little opportunity cost in not sticking it in there for Sephiroth as well. Cool deck.
Yeah, it's been doing work for him. That was pretty convincing, even though it was pretty one-sided in the beginning. But let's get those guys back in there and let's see their thoughts on it, shall we?
There's a 7-5 at the end for damage.
Well, that were a pretty quick one with that.
Oh, grabbing everything, but...
You did lock things, you turned the boy sideways.
I got to use Sephiroth special. I've not been able to do that before.
You'll be smiling at that for weeks. Yeah, it's a bit more than your average stabilization, isn't it? Was there a particular point you thought you'd won that?
I took the 5th point of damage and he passed the turn, and then I knew I'd won there. When he attacked with the Elena, I'm like, right, I've got this pretty much in the bag. I don't think there's anything that he can do that can stop me now, because I doubt he's playing stuff like 3-drop Rama. He don't really have the CP for it anyway. I'm like, I don't think I can lose here. Yeah, because
I think that's their assumption.
I've got the Sephiroth in hand. I drew into the Glacier, which was even nicer. I've got the Scholar up so I can loot the Sephiroth if need be. That'd have probably been a better play actually than just using the Glacier, but
I mean, a win's a win, isn't it? So
it felt like that was. It felt like the game was over there.
Still, that was looking pretty scary in the beginning when you only had 2 backups. We saw 2 Stallion going into the rake zone. At that point, we were thinking, "Oh, this might be difficult," but then no, it's not.
I thought I was dead, and then I top decked the ace.
Aha!
Was turn 1 Rufus into a backup just making the most of a reasonably bad mulligan?
Yeah, so my first hand had a Crow, several Lightning cards, and a Kate Sith. So I was like, right, this is a solid card, but if I don't draw an Ice card, I'm pretty much fucked because my turn 2 from a Crow, turn 1 wasn't very good. So I chanced it. And Rufus, yeah, it's not the greatest of mulligans, but I got a backup out, so that's something.
It's a really aggressive start. You just didn't get the backups to follow up on it, really.
No, the Glaciers really put a pain in my side, and like I said, when we said in the lobby chat, I was 1 turn away from killing him because I had the Crow into Libertus, into Nyx, to do 2 points. So I was almost there, just didn't quite get there.
Didn't see Kadaj.
No, didn't see Kadaj. I've currently lost every game. I have not played Kadaj turn 2-1, so take from that what you will.
It feels
I was
bad.
quite happy to not see Kadaj.
Yeah, I was not.
I played 2 backup.
wonder
I'm
why.
like, right, if he has Kadaj loss here, I'm probably just dead.
Yeah, but the day, I mean, I knew I was struggling to Sephiroth, and I knew it was a chance when I took him to 4, but I felt like the pressure I was putting on was too good to pass up. And obviously, when he played it, hindsight's 2020, and I was like, yeah, I shouldn't have taken him to 4 damage, but you live and you learn.
Quite
Okay.
interesting to see another deck that's using that Sephiroth, because I remember when it was first spoiled, everyone was like, "This is totally broken." You know, it's way ahead of the curve. I don't think curve is a word you can too readily use when you've got the implied extra cost of somebody being on 4 damage on off. But yeah, I went through a spell of about 5 minutes of thinking this thing is nuts, and then I sort of slowly realized that a lot of decks that would maybe be in a good position to recur the special don't really deal damage or take damage fast enough. So it's cool to see a deck other than WoF that's abusing him, actually.
The thing is, the special's not important on that card at all. It's really it's like, it's nice. You saw there that it can end a game, but the fact that it's a 4-cost 10k that breaks something on ETB, whether you're ahead or behind, like, it's just got to be in the mid game, is so powerful. Because when people know you play it, they tend to try and stall it around 3 damage. And
that can give you
bring
some
back
breathing
in
room
the
and
game.
things like that, can't it?
And Fire Ice is a deck that has struggled in the past with just getting behind. It's got very few ways of coming back into a game.
Fire Ice always
Just
deals the
got nailed.
first few damage very easily, but it becomes increasingly harder every turn to find a way to keep on dealing damage. And
Well,
just
it's the problem Fire Ice has is essentially your only way to get back into a game is nail, or your only game to get back into a game was nail. People were playing stuff like Terror, searching recycling Belias to be able to get efficient blocks off and things, but you guys are also you guys just don't defend very well. So having something like Sephiroth in a deck where if you're behind, you're going to end up on 4 damage quite quickly, is just a really powerful way to help swing the board. It's essentially another nail, and it's really important. A lot of Fire Ice decks are playing Kadaj, but I feel like that's, well, I said this last week, but I feel like you're just over-indexing on ways to get through, because you've got enough, and you can deal yourself the damage to play Sephiroth as well if need, through stuff like Sabin and Dadaluma.
Luckily they came in this set and not the next.
Aye. So it's I don't know. I honestly think it was a really big addition to the deck, and I think it made the deck a lot better. Never mind the fact that Sabin and Dadaluma both give you really good ways to shore up the board, one early, one later on in the game.
I was very impressed with Dadaluma in general. Just feels like I don't really want to use the word power crept, but a comparable version for half the price of Guy in Opus 1. And I thought that card was still like fringe playable in certain rooms, but I thought it was just amazing for aggressive tempo.
It's like, don't get me wrong, taking a damage off it can be a big downside. Like, there's times where you're in top deck mode because you're playing Fire Ice and you want to turn it into a top deck war at points, because that's how you beat some matchups. But then you top deck Dadaluma and you're on 5 damage and you're like, well, if I play this, I'm probably going to die. But I don't really have much of a choice. So it kind of makes your ability to fight by reducing both players to 0 cards and playing from there. It worsens that a bit, but it shores up your ability to deal with being out aggroed so much just by being a 2-cost 8k, and it's really powerful in the mirror.
I think there are some matchups as well, like Mono Wind.
So it's not
will probably do better by playing like Dadaluma backup lock than 2 backups unlock.
I think Dadaluma can make some curves on like going second and things like that playable as well, because Fire Ice having a 2CP backup in Cat 6 as well it's a nice thing to have in your list while it's also doing other things. You know, put it in your deck because of it, but it existing
Yeah.
and providing that for it too is quite powerful, especially early game when you're kind of just sat, with that extra card in hand and you think you're going to pitch it anyway. You can make that Daddaluma, take yourself to 1, and start pushing someone towards Sephiroth.
Not even mentioned Shadow yet, and Shadow's also absolutely fantastic.
I don't think we've seen him come down yet, have we?
I played him
Did we see him
against-
once?
I played him against Jesse, I think.
Right. Dan, have you played Jesse yet?
No.
No. Should we get that next?
Okay.
Yeah, my Oxford guns just crashed, so I'm just trying to load that back up.
Okay. Is that for everyone, or is
The
that
joys of free software.
Mine's fine.
Yeah, mine's fine.
Alright, we're back.
Yeah, same here.
You back? Alright.
All right, Dan. So then, Fire Ice still the king.
I mean, the deck. As I say, I made some changes going into today. I've drawn absolutely 0 of the cards that I put in, and it still feels.
What have you put in?
I've added a Furion, a VV, and
2 CP Furion.
yeah.
That's because you've gone like Sid Rain style, right?
Yeah. Oh no, I did draw a Sid Rens this game actually, but I didn't really.
Didn't get to play it.
It was ICP.
Yeah.
And I took out the Celeste and the 2 Zidans, 2 CP Zidans, because I didn't feel like I was doing well. I didn't feel like the way I was playing was warranting having it in.
Yeah.
But as I say, I've drawn the Sid Rains that made ICP, and then that's it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the
Right.
game.
Next game, Soloman Kain versus Rynnshaa. Down on the play. Don't know if we had mulligans. Missed that bit, unfortunately.
I assume so, because I don't know who's mulliganed, but we've got Lyle and WRO member into Rude.
Jesse
WRO
emptying his hand again.
He's like, right, I'm not gonna get Kadaj lost. That's not happening to me.
No, you can't get me, boy. So we've got a
That
7k.
is-
Is he brave?
Yeah, it's brave.
He's brave too, 7k brave. That's actually pretty good against this deck. It's pretty much everything 7k. Ugh,
it's
take
got-
that last card out of your hand.
I had to
Filia.
get-
That was a really, 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 really strong card to take.
Aye, that's
Move to combat. Get him in. First
the main
blood.
reason,
Rufus EX. No, you don't want that.
but
Luckily,
it's the
luckily the targets are limited though. Dan, if Dan is actually mental, he's not. He'd take the other route
what? And go for the
and just go for it. Play
you
the
have to
long
have-
game.
You have to have the Reno in play for it is the problem. So
Oh,
it's not
what?
really practical if you're playing Rude backup Reno forward. It's why when I was messing around with Turks, I ended up playing Reno backup Rude forward.
That's rubbish. Yeah,
But
I
it
think
depends on what you value the haste or the first strike, really.
I definitely need to give Rude forward a go because I've played a lot of Reno forward because he's got haste and haste
Yep.
almost
And a
seems
cool
like
face.
yeah, and he's got like cool hair and shit, right?
Mate, Rude's got sunglasses, man.
That's very true.
He's got sunglasses. You can't argue with the sunglasses. Well, you know who can argue with the sunglasses? Cloud. He's just down to play.
I was once of the opinion that first strike was the best keyword because it was the only keyword that directly translated to being removal. But I think my opinion has changed in favor of haste now. It's just a case of like, which 10k do you like more? One that can't attack on turn 1.
Well, the one that can, yeah. I do think that the thing is that Reno also gets 3,000 power when you've got Rufus, which is, I mean, that's pretty good. It's pretty much makes you don't need first strike when you just win combat with a three drop.
Yeah.
It's the same, isn't it? It's just dependent on whether or not you do have Rufus.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for cards that are bigger than Camelot.
That's Vincent. Is he going to remove that from the game?
I think you let him keep it.
I'm pretty
Oh
sure.
my god, really? I'm surprised. I just feel Vincent would get discarded on the next turn anyway. There's no
You let
way.
him play it, you wait for him to special, and then you kill it. Even though you can't do that because you can't do it in combat, but you know, just saying.
You have a lot of faith in that card still being relevant 3 turns down the line. I just
Absolutely.
don't like
I think
draw into a Tifa or something here that actually would make a difference.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to get it out of the game for to prevent late game stuff with starter Vincent. You know.
I don't think he's playing for that though, is he?
But I think if the game goes on that long anyway, you'll lose to something else, and specifically hating on that Vincent doesn't help you. Like, what's to say that wouldn't have been in hand if the Vincent was still in hand? You know, that might not still be the top card of the deck.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm a big fan of the play.
I'm just trying to find reason
I'm
for it.
just trying to figure out why.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So he's got removal on board, though. The cloud attack is not really something you want to waste on these guys. But that's a big old hand.
These WRO members are just getting in.
I would expect maybe 2 forwards this turn.
Hopefully. So cloud turns into a 9k next if these remembers attack 2 more times.
What did he search off of the cloud again?
Kate Sith.
Kate Sith, yeah.
He got the Kate Sith, okay. So we're not looking at... Well, there's a chance we're looking at Kadaj chains, but it seems unlikely. Something like Kadaj laws would be really powerful here.
There's no point going quite all 3 just yet, because you still have 2 to get past, and you don't really want to trade the cloud in just yet.
Cloud has got a much bigger duty to fulfill.
There's the Kadaj. Freezing some backups. Strong plays.
Get a loss, play the loss, freeze the Lail most likely.
Seems that way. And Loz is a... Is the party attack you block with Loz, or do you block with Kadaj?
Not with neither, I would say.
The damage, right?
You take the damage.
I wouldn't go blocking here now. I think that the late game of Earth is too good here, and no, we don't need it. Yeah, the late game of Earth is too good here that I think that willingly trading away your resources for the sake of prolonging the game is not a good idea.
Right. Fair point.
I don't think there's been many times since, I don't know, certainly not since lockdown began, I've blocked and it felt like a good idea.
So we're going to see some damage coming in. Kadaj.
Sick.
Oh no. So at least we know that there probably aren't going to be any more Kadajas coming down for a little while. But with only 2 cards left, it's probably going to be the end of Jesse's turn. And there's no threat of dying next turn. Six in hand, 3 backups. One of those is definitely the Yazoo that we've just picked up, which is only ETB dull at this stage, but it is a 7k.
I think we're dulling the WRO to squeeze through a couple of points of damage. Doable, maybe?
Yeah. No, I think it's still playable. Something like Kuja coming down as well to speed up that process would be pretty strong. I think Dan's probably going to be looking for his 4th backup in this turn too. Might not have the curve for it.
Sorry about that. I just had to deal with something. How's things changed while I've
Now we've got a Laws who is sideways.
Ah, it's a sideways Laws.
Earth doing what it does best and hitting some EXs.
That's
Barrett,
free.
but no Jesse on the field.
Laws is dull.
Veronica.
This isn't.
It's weird because I don't know how good Barrett is at this stage in the game. He's pretty much just a 9k.
I think it's just big more than anything.
Yeah, it's a
this-
nice target for Cloud.
It's very rare I'll play a Mono Earth deck without playing at least one copy of Asmodai for pretty much this exact situation. Just
Yeah,
swing the field a little bit in your favor because you're tired of being beaten up.
Asmodai's 9k, isn't he?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Really,
powerful.
really big.
Asmodai's only 8 by default.
Oh, is he 8? Yeah, okay.
9 on this board because of Enna, but yeah, it's 8 for 5.
Yo, pitch 2. There's the Kuja.
There's a coup
Get it out.
next in the break zone.
I'm very impressed actually with the number of speeds and the variety of speed of play of this Ice Lightning deck.
Yeah, it's got some real just flexibility around the way it plays with Cloud and Kuja, giving you the removal to be able to play throughout the mid game. Nyx helping you push damage late, and Kadaj, Loz, and the Rufus stuff. Some really strong early plays. It just seems quite flexible.
I know that I underestimated it in the beginning, and then it beat me up pretty thoroughly.
It's understandable.
Yeah, it really got me, man. But this looks like a pretty tricky board for Jesse to start dealing with. He's got one of those cards as a Barrett.
He is playing Mono Earth, so there is still a Shantato. However many it is he's playing, that will still be.
I haven't seen one yet.
Was one discarded in a previous game, but
Oh, you did see one. Okay.
yeah, I think it was like a turn 1 discard in one game.
There's a 6 CP for the Minfilia.
I'm back.
Cloud. Oh, that's ambitious. Tifa.
I'm Tifa. It's probably just going both out. I don't know.
I almost feel like he still needs to make room for this Jesse.
I don't think you're playing Jesse this game.
No, but with a hand like that, ooh.
That's just gonna get clouded.
Yep, can't be saved from being broken, just damage.
Yeah, just a damage reduction. I definitely think that milling 7 cards is a lower cost for the first couple of times. You know, you're fine to translate to 2 or 3 points of damage that turn, and I just don't see a world in which that's not the right thing to do here.
It is worth noting that they
Or
are
something.
removed from the game, so it does mean that you're not going to.
It really is almost the equivalent of just paying 1 CP, like a 1 CP Rama or something for the 3 CP that it costs. It's just,
Also,
it's so powerful.
Tifa is going to be live next turn.
Mm-hmm. So he needs to start getting those cloud abilities down. Tifa protects herself, doesn't she?
Who, sorry?
Tifa protects herself with her damage 3 ability, right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that yeah, she does cover herself from the claws.
So lots of really strong targets for Crow. I know that we've seen a Libertas. I'm pretty sure we've seen a Nyx too. Those might be coming down a little bit later, but again, it's the break effect that it's difficult to play around. So we're going to see how much damage Dan pushes in here.
Attack with Kuja.
Mm-hmm.
Take the point. Pretty sure you're probably just going to kill off Loz and discard the cloud you picked up, maybe? I'm not sure. Maybe you don't want to, but it seems better. It seems better than going to 4. And can't use the cloud ability because it's not in main phase.
Very true.
And then if the Cloud attacks, then you get to also clear out the Kuju with the Noctis. I guess he's just looking to keep it on 2 damage until he can end the game, but that's a risky way of playing it. Because a minor activation in a Shantoto here is absolutely devastating.
Yazoo just doubling down something because she has to.
I was saying that with... I say it's devastating.
It's a. I'm pretty sure it's all of the cards in his hand, right? Maybe he keeps one.
He ends up with 5 cards in hand. He has to discard 3 of them at Shantoto, so he keeps 1.
Cracking Infilia to kill Cloud, 3 in hand, 4 backups could make.
My concern here is that I feel like we've still not seen enough Reno Rufus stuff. I think that Ice Lightning maybe has a little bit more capacity to rebuild after a Shantoto here, especially considering current hand size.
Yeah.
This is true.
That's very true. And on top of that, Crow can start pulling from whatever isn't on the board here. It can pull those cards back too. I think one of them is even a Reno. There's one forward. Is Cloud forwards?
Cloud is only forwards, yeah.
4 or more Cat 4 forwards.
So we're gonna get...
That's the Infilia to break the Cloud.
Oh, okay, sure. Guess we can't remove 7 from the game in response.
No, it's only during Euro main 1. Or main 2.
Main either.
Main. So. Yazoo
Noctis
is a problem.
I think that if Noctis wasn't here, this would be a bit easier. I guess Cloud can buff himself by 1k when he blocks, but...
Well, Noctis can kill 2, can't he? So that's still... If he blocks the Yazoo, takes 1, and you can sort of get like a double kill.
Yeah,
I think he'd need something like a Glacier to get through, or... Well, actually, no, he's got Crow. Never mind. Never mind. He might even have a Libertas too. Yeah, mental.
Libertas break Crow. Not doing. Well, Libertas get back Nyx. Activate
Oh my
2
goodness.
backups. Play Nyx. Break something. Give it haste.
And taps your backups as well. Why not?
Let's...
Mini Veltor, yay.
Libertas Nyx is insanely powerful, especially if you ever get to a point where you can play out 5 backups.
Yeah, man.
That just feels, man.
2 cards in hand to make like 2 bodies and kill a guy. Wow.
5.
And a haste, yeah.
You do have to sack one of said backups unless you want to sack the Libertas, but...
You usually get rid of the Crow though, right?
Crow's
Yeah.
real meaning in life is to get sacked for something or other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with Noctis, wisest in a long time. And then I guess Nyx is going to go down Cloud as well.
Dull Cloud.
Probably more important than giving Nyx haste.
The problem, the problem you've got is you're playing against a deck with a bazillion EX bursts.
You've got to take some of those risks.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready. This is what Jesse's been holding out for all week. So I can't wait to smash some forwards with Yojimbo. Barrett's not been chucking them to the bottom of the deck this game.
I reckon we're going to see 2 Titans on his 4th and 5th damage. That's what I reckon's going to happen.
Nothing but your Jimbos. I think we might see a Gabran.
He's used Nyx's dull ability instead, I think.
Yeah, no, that's what you wanted to do.
Mm.
You've got 5 attacks. Jesse has 5 life. Let's see how it goes.
I think the important thing here is knowing when to stop attacking if something horrible happens.
Mm.
Let's judge the horribleness.
I can't wait. My heart's racing. I love a good EX burst when I'm not in the game.
I think there's a little bit of maths in who attacks first here, who's least likely to die to an EX burst. But I think the real answer is they're all Yojimbo, they're all Titan, they're all going to kill anything.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that you attack with Loz as late as physically possible.
Yeah, Loz and Yazoo are the ones you want to keep up. I think Elena and Kudra are the ones that want to go in first, right?
They're just
Vincent?
quite... Oh,
Alright.
okay. Search for a Vincent.
That's digging out non-EXs from the potential candidates.
That's a scary find, is that? That's a very scary find.
With the miner still active. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very scary
Oh,
find.
yeah. Still got to deal with
Yeah.
Yazoo, though, haven't you?
I mean, if you Vincent special 3 times, you can have 3 Yazoos. It don't matter. They're all still dying.
Kudra coming in.
Yeah.
Very reasonable.
8k swinger in a Yojimbo, that's what I get about.
Say goodbye to your 15 boy band.
Yeah. Whoa. Which one do you take here?
Not
It
one of the
depends
ones
on what's in
that's
your
living when
hand.
it dies.
If you don't
Yeah.
mind discarding anything,
Well, I think you
Loz.
want to, because getting rid of the Loz during their turn is the best time to do it, and you've got to do it. It's got to happen at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably worth checking the break zone and seeing what's left, because you're less likely to. People tend to play less Loz over the Yazoo. Can that
So
attack this
surprised
turn?
at Libertas because there's a Libertas still in hand.
Yeah.
Was there?
Strange choice.
That's what came back off the Crow dying.
Right. Cloud's now massive.
And dull.
And oh.
And damaged.
And oh. It's not looking good for our hero, is it?
Dunno, man. Big Henny Cloud got us through a lot of stuff in FF7 Remake, let's put it that way.
Spoilers.
I was talking about my gameplay, mate, nothing to do with the story.
No Cloud was in it.
You know what? That's a good point. I apologize.
So, Dan's thinking long and hard about whether he wants to get these boys in. It's a really interesting question, because he has got 3 cards in his hand. You know one of them is a Vincent, and you know that he's got Minor active, and you know there's at least another Vincent. Not taking him to 5 might be the play.
I think I
Especially when you know
would
he's
call
also
it a
got a
big.
team.
Oh my goodness. No.
He wants it. He wants it. You know how we were talking about wanting it earlier? Barrett. Oh, yeah, man.
Combat step.
This is where a Shantoto draw could actually be really scary.
Oh, that's not the best hit, but it's a card in hand. Either of those would have been incredible EXs or card draws, though. Those poor Noctis.
He's like, right, I'm gonna put
This
you
is going to
on
be
the-
another EX burst, though. Don't do it, man.
I am very, very surprised at that.
Remember, bad draw. Don't want that card. Unless it's the forward.
I think putting
That's
it.
back,
just-
definitely don't want
I
that.
think, considering you've got Libertus in hand, putting him to 6 is probably fine.
I
Hold
thought
up.
he used the dull ability.
Hold up.
Dulled. It's an or, not an and.
We've all been there.
Oh wait, Libertus. Oh no, that's fair.
What do you mean?
Libertus died.
What is Nick's? Both of them if Lurks dies.
Oh
Wait,
yeah,
hang on.
yeah, because
Yeah.
whenever
Yeah,
Arcane Slave dies.
Libertus died,
Oh.
but Jesse's discarded his hand to tighten the Nyx.
Oh. Okay.
So killing the Libertus with the Yojimbo
Better than
was a
dying.
massive mistake.
It's better than dying. He's not dead yet.
You
Go
know,
on,
what,
Jesse.
Jesse, I'd like to challenge that statement.
Pardon?
I'd like
Better
to
to die with
challenge
honor.
that statement.
What could we see here? Not Toto. A little bit too far from Toto.
Mathematically not able.
Yazoo's still a problem.
They're all.
Raubon, yeah, it's probably done.
Laws, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, the problem here is
There's Yazoo. Yazoo is the
Yazoo's going to
problem.
go and freeze the cloud anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So either deals the 7th or make something else deal the 7th.
Yeah.
So your Jimbo killed the Libertus inadvertently ended the game.
Yazoo kill Laws. Hopefully no other hastes appear. Yazoo attack, still freezes cloud, and then Elena can't attack. Kind of like the only might we have here.
You did. Elena can't attack here. That's true. Wait, could Elena attack last? Yeah, Elena. He had 4 forward.
Yeah, Lynn, yeah,
Yeah,
like 6 at the
He's got a
start.
Libertus in hand. He's got a Libertus in hand. This whole
Yeah.
conversation is kind of irrelevant.
And
Oh, almost dead. That's when I think Glacier's been power crept and doesn't feel like a staple anymore. It reminds me of why it's the best Doom Train.
it's a shame, man. It's not called Doom Train. What a whiff.
It's a shame the Uni Young team's not called Glasgow Labolas.
It's a shame Arena of Light's not called Ride of the Doom Train.
Right, the Doom Train.
Ride the Doom Train.
Right on. And that'll be that. Well played, dudes. Let's see what they're saying about that.
You know, I got the EX bursts, so that was what I was happy about.
We caught that. We got that on stream. You happy about the EX bursts, are you?
I'm happy about them. I'm not happy about what I targeted with them.
Yeah, that was.
But I don't think anyone realised until
Libertus couldn't attack that turn though, could he?
It couldn't.
Oh, exactly. But I knew that he had a I just, when your brain just goes for it, and you're just like, yes, this is the right play.
That's what I feel like online a lot of the time. Yeah, it's I think you view cards in a different way when they're a physical object, not just some pixels.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about online dating.
Yeah. Okay. Is this speaking from experience or?
I think he just took one look at Nick's, to be honest, because I did, and that got me going.
But yeah.
He's an attractive man, Nick. Not gonna lie.
Yes, he really is, and
He's a bit Ryan Reynolds, isn't he?
yeah.
I mean, yeah. Anyone's a bit Ryan Reynolds, and they got a lot going for him. So.
I mean, I just want to say from personal experience, it's not nice when he's hitting you. But like,
You've got Nix who's full Ryan Reynolds, and Libertus over here who's just gone full Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. Do you know Luke Bryan, country singer? Yeah, I think he looks like Luke Bryan.
He could be Seth Rogen, a little.
If Seth Rogen lost like 300
I'm not
pounds.
really seeing it at all. I'm afraid.
So this next AOL's definitely not going to be sponsored by Seth Rogen, but it could be sponsored by Ryan Reynolds. I'm just saying.
It's after 9 o'clock. This is when I reveal how much of a bitch I really am.
It's like a timer. It's like,
Steve After Dark.
Dull and uncensored.
So Jesse, where was the Shantoto, man? We was holding out.
It was so far down the bottom of the
What happened? What happened? Man? You threw him out early. Did you see him in that game?
I thought I had. No, I didn't see him that game. Did I? No, because I would have picked him up with Minfilia if I had. But yeah, I backed myself into a corner. I was very impressed with those row members. I know you don't like them. But having
didn't
those
say that.
for damage early.
I'm not sure there was any other card
I
in the
did.
game would have done so much in such a short space of time as 2 WR.
They felt really good at the start of that.
They look
and just
really
knowing
good.
that I'm going to be able to poke him out to 4 damage or whatever, and still have a board. And then everything just sort of took a few steps back. The double freeze on your backups always feels bad, especially when you knew I had Minfilia in hand. It was just like, that felt rough. But yeah, it was okay until that. I think I still had him even after he started punching me quite aggressively. So when he got 5 forwards, I was like, okay, this is where I've actually got to start thinking about every little detail. It's no longer an autopilot.
Yeah.
Which is very difficult to do with Mono Earth, because all you want to do is punch them in the face. and when they don't give you option, and you don't have the Shantoto, you're just like, maths, numbers, figuring it out, reading cards properly. It all just goes out the window a little bit. So clearing the cloud, that felt good. I had the Tifa in hand, I had the cloud in hand. So I knew that after that turn I could stabilize, and that was just hitting that Libertus, giving Nyx that haste and just going, oh, I've got to tell him because I realized it a second ago. And you're just like, oh. But yeah, other than that, it was fine. I saw the EX burst. That was really nice. And that's all the deck's really meant to do. And I think that if it had been a few more turns, stabilizing would have been an option, because Tifa's now there, stop the cloud and everything if he plays another one, and just give me a bit more breathing room.
I do have, so first off, gentleman points go to Jesse for reminding me about the Nyx trigger. I did miss it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I missed it too, man. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I think we all missed it.
Yeah.
Is gentleman points what you use for currency?
Yeah. So 4 gets you a free coffee.
And it's 10 claps to 1 gentleman point.
Okay, so I just need to get a large round of applause. So I can go. It was worth joining on this chat so late. Yeah.
I'll send you them in the post.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think no, he's right. I mean, I knew the Tifa was coming. I had a snow in hand the entire time, going right. I just need to make a body of forwards, and I knew the Tifa was coming. I had ways to kill the Tifa, which is why I didn't take him for 3 damage straight away, even though I could, because I was like, right, I'm sitting and waiting until he plays that Tifa, and then I can cloud it, or I can Nyx it, and then I can go nuts. And then I drew the snow, and I was like, okay, this is backup 2. This is the backup plan. And then I thought, no, you know what? I can make a board of 7 forwards and just go really wide. And then if, Steve just posted a picture. You're right. That looks exactly like Liberty. What was I saying? Sorry.
That's that. Yeah.
The eyes have thrown me off my train of thought.
It's terrible. I'm hypnotized right now. I'm still listening,
man.
sort of.
It's a sexy man. So it got to a point where I was like, right, I could be cute with snow, I could be cute with cloud, or I could go, you know what, fuck it, Tifa's there, but I can take him to 6 and party attack with Yuzu and Loz next turn. He has to block with something, then I can make him discard and dull freeze something, and then from then on, I'd be able to, ideally, get it back. So
I think that's fair.
I did also have the second cloud in hand to search up a Kadaj, to then search up another Yuzu to dull something else and freeze something else. So I had 3 different plans, and then Mr. Gentleman over here reminded me I didn't need any, and I could just kill him. So
I know. I give and I give and I give. But no, I think that's something that the Earth deck sort of lacks in. Your game plan is hit them hard early, and when they hit you, you get EX bursts. At least that's how it's being played by me. And you got the EX burst and everything, and that was fine. It just wasn't quite the pusher you needed. Maybe if I'd played with Vincent next turn as well, it would have been a little bit better. But it's just trying to make come back from when you're behind, and it was such a rapid turnaround. For Dan, it was just like, you're on 1 or 2 forwards now, and now you've got 5. Okay, great, you've wiped my board. This just gets better, and it's this dismantling of the deck that's very surgical. He knows what he's doing, and the deck will allow him to do it.
Yeah, we were talking about how flexible Dan's deck seems, how it's got quite a lot of different lines it can almost take whenever it wants. Rufus fetching backups and forwards, Cloud fetching backups and forwards, Kadaj fetching a variety of different aggression tools and things like that, and Cloud also finding both of those packages within themselves as well. Kuja coming down as like some early and mid-game removal options as well. What was the other one? Oh, Liberty and Nyx. It just allows it to remove the forwards that you can't dull and freeze. So if you do run into things that are a real problem, then you now have just raw removal solutions.
Yeah, I think that's very true.
Yeah, you're right. I think this deck feels. I lost to Graham. I think that matchup against Graham is entirely winnable, and it did feel winnable to a point. So it feels a lot more powerful than I gave it credit for. I built it and just went, you know what, this is going to be fun. I'm going to play him with Turks, and then I've played it for twice now in 2 tournaments now, and it feels pretty strong. So,
well, it's been doing a lot of work, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Refreshing in general to see Ice Lightning doing well. I don't think I've seen Ice Lightning represented as much since the Open or so, and then all of a sudden there's multiple decks in the go. The Barthandelus deck as well that seems to be doing Ice Lightning.
Yeah, I think there's with the 7 package as well, you've got, especially with the new Kate Sith, you can go Ice Lightning because you've got a Lightning backup that searches an Ice backup, which is really strong. And it's a very good Ice backup that it searches.
So you can feasibly go Cloud into Lightning backup into Ice backup, and
Yeah.
you're set for the game.
Yeah, it's there's a lot, like I think Brad's right. There's a lot of flexibility in the deck. It does die to. You need a lot of cards in hand, I find. So I've played against the Water Ice deck that Steve played, but with Buckaboo, and I found it harder to. I did win, but I found it harder to stabilize because I didn't have the cards in hand to just pitch and go crazy. Like you can play slow, but you need to play fast to keep on top because all you guys are tiny. You need a really good setup to get like the 10Ks, the 9Ks, the 8Ks. So you have to really like play fast to get to the point where you can almost kill them, and then you slam the things that pump everything and kill things. So if they can deprive cards of your hand, like if Fire Ice gets an early lock and starts making you pitch everything, and Glaciers ruin your day, then you find it hard to come back really. But it feels good.
Ironically, I took out Buckaboo from my list specifically for today.
Why? No, you got to bring the absolute hate with you, man.
Yeah, Buckaboo is a very spiteful card. I love it and I hate it.
If you don't leave the arena without making an enemy, then
no, you wouldn't have met an enemy. You'd have had someone be slightly more upset.
Furious.
There'd have been some controversy at the next live FF event, that's for sure.
Yeah, man.
Hunt him down. Don't know what I do. Rip up Buckaboos in his face. Just like, this is what you get. I don't know. Getting revenge.
So
Just like shower him in with thaumaturges.
have we got one more game left in this round robin?
We do. Steve versus Gray.
Indeed we do.
Alrighty, so which one of you guys, please? Get a room.
No problem.
You made it already?
Yeah, just
Perfect.
Oh, we both made one. All right.
Oh, we both made it.
I'll join
Infinite
it.
loop.
I'll join it. Where is it? I want to be in the play section. There
I want to get a room with this Luke Bryan guy, and they didn't even know who he was.
So that has opened my eyes quite a lot.
Yeah.
Where's
Questioning
he from?
himself now.
I don't know, but I felt like I was looking into his soul.
Yeah. Man's got past. Okay, so let's find the game to spectate.
I think I've joined the wrong one. No.
There's both of them have one up, so we'll just wait till we.
Yeah, I'll wait until it goes into in-game. I think there it is.
Believe we're about to watch the Steve redemption arc.
I'm honestly expecting Steve to bring something out because of how unconventional the deck is. I find monsters are normally.
This could go anyway. I think. Statistically speaking, I've got Fire Ice on this, but I mean, Steve's been having quite a bit of bad luck on his draws so far today, so maybe this is going to be the turning point. Maybe we're going to see the Sidorstein when he's actually wanted. And nothing says mental like a Sidorstein killing something. So
Yeah,
I think
it was great.
Do you think Scale Toad? I'm not really one with the matchups like this. Do you think Scale Toad's a good card in this matchup for Steve?
I think it is. Yes.
Yeah, I think it definitely is.
It does a lot of work for him. It puts a lot of pressure on Graham. Graham can't remove it, I'm fairly certain. Oh, actually, he can. No, that's a lie. Sephiroth removes it. But by that point in the game, I think it might be too late if it comes down too early.
Early Scale Toad, that's going to put Graham under pressure because he wants to be able to react to what you're playing, and that makes him be the one that's making the first move, playing the cards down, or they're going to be losing value by just discarding.
Yeah. One thing we did just miss, by the way, so Kate Sith from Graham to reveal Steve's hand of 0 backups.
And that's going to be double discard. Please
Hopefully
make
for a
it
backup.
lock.
He did not find a backup. This is not a good start.
Let's see how Fire Ice deals with a turn 1 lock. Probably.
Did Steve mulligan or?
He did. He mulliganed and didn't hit any backups, so we're looking from a rocky start from Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, the lock means that Graham's going to have to realistically answer with a forward or lose a card. There it is. Shadow coming out.
This is a pretty good way of blocking that lock.
And he's going to get a 2-drop and be able to play it. Will he want to, though?
The Cyan is a very powerful hit. Means he can attack, and he is
Well,
able to.
Well,
Gonna need some
Shadow won't
haste
have
for that.
haste, that's the thing, yeah.
But it
That's
is an
true.
8k with Brave currently, which is good. If he's got that Interceptor, it's going to put him miles ahead.
I think if he had the Intercept, he would have played it over Cyan, wouldn't he?
Well, argue.
If
It
he could
depends.
play
You're right.
both,
You're right. If he could play both, then it would be good. But it looks
Mm.
like he's going to pass there and just have a nice little backup. Have a nice way to block that lock. Not really going to worry about the damage.
And now it is just top deck, isn't it? He needs
And
some
now you
backup.
suddenly can't block the lock anymore. That's going to rip a card out of his
Quite
hand.
Nice, yeah.
this would also do it twice because Tombury's also got the back end of being able to.
Yeah, that's 2 free attacks.
Although we're still not seeing any backups from Steve, so it's still a really bad start for him.
It's a very bad start, isn't it? And until you start seeing the backups, you can't make plays. You're going to get further and further behind. And eventually those cards are going to start being taken out your hands. You're not even getting value from that.
And it's going to be his own lock.
Yeah.
If we see a Glacier,
I
I think
Whoa,
that's all she
think
wrote
that
at the
might
moment.
be the game. I
that
don't
feels
know if Water Ice has a way out of this. But 5 in hand. Tombury's on board. Graham only has 1 card in his hand at least.
Yeah.
But you are pretty much on turn 1.
Yeah.
It's pitching for 4.
Make
So
the
we've
guess
seen the
all.
backup.
He's got a backup at least.
So we've got a backup. That's a start.
I'm not sure about discarding the flan. I kind of like the flans to give you value. I mean, if you're not seeing backups, you just need more cards in hand. But it depends what his last 2 cards are and what his next play is going to be, obviously.
Yeah, and he might play the card that he searches out. So I know he's going for the realm next turn. Okay, so we're on. We're back on game plan now, at least. Just gotta hope that this isn't a turn where Graham pulls so far ahead.
I mean, he's going to lose a card to lock, and
Yeah, and the more damage he takes, the closer he gets to an aggressive Sephiroth.
And the further we stray from God's light.
Yeah.
But,
This
I mean,
lock
we got an
tears a
instant
new
assist.
one.
That always feels nice, getting a free card.
Oh,
Yeah.
get it in the bin.
Immediate discard.
Get him out. Get him out.
All his cards now.
Yeah, Mira has been consistently the best 2CP water.
Oh, Sidolstein, where you at, man?
Steve,
Oh.
I feel so bad for him. He hasn't played it successfully, I don't think. The timing's been slightly wrong for him. Oh.
Sets are coming down. Gonna maintain that. Can't. Oh. Unblockable. You cannot
do you do?
block it. 7 in hand, though.
Yeah,
Definitely going to be able to play that realm.
No, he should be on 5. He drew too many.
Oh, he
He
drew.
entered
He
his-
drew.
Yeah,
He did drew
he
too
entered
many.
his draw
I
phase.
thought something was up there. There was only 1 draw and he had to discard it, so.
Oh well, put them back. Didn't see
I
him.
mean, based on Steve's luck, those will have been Sid Olstein.
Those would have been the cards he actually wanted to draw. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
However, not quite a simple play when you've only got 5 in hand instead of the 7.
I think even with 7, it's never going to be a simple play, is it?
I don't know, man. Umaru is going to
backup.
do quite a lot of work here.
Yeah.
Umaru would be an excellent stabilizer. Locks, sorry, not lock. Realm's going to come down. Going to fish out some monsters though. Go digging.
So
What do we have to?
His 1 CP options are Goblin, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's seen all of his flans, I think.
Have
So he couldn't
I
get
can't
flan.
double check that, unfortunately.
Might be a little bit late for Flan as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if he's. I know he's dropped 2, certainly, so you're probably right about that.
Yeah, so
Swamp
he goes-
Monk.
Yeah.
It is a blocker, so
It is
I
a
mean,
block that he would have to discard from hand to make it a blocker. He doesn't have any CP up at the moment.
Though a blue card in hand would mean that Realm can actually beat Lock in combat.
he does have Mirage Dive, so
Ah, never mind. It's dead.
Yeah. he also has the ace.
Yeah.
100% dead. One off, by the way.
And now we are
Is it?
crucially in
Probably.
aggressive Sephiroth territory, so this is quite a problem for Steve. If
I
they
mean,
manage to drop.
even without the Sephiroth.
There's another Sid Holstein.
Into damage. That's not a very good draw. I mean, it's a body, but I don't know if it's going to cut it yet.
I mean, he has got the Swamp Monk. He's got a blocker at least, and Tom Burrows can make it so the block is better if you want to pay the full for it. But yeah, I'm not sure where I see this game going at the moment. I just don't see what Steve can do now.
Not sure what's going to come out of this, but we're going to... 2 cards. It's quite tricky, isn't it? Yeah, just going to make a lock.
Needed the blocker out, I think.
Just make the lock. Give it haste.
Oh yeah, draw a card.
Sephiroth.
Yay! I mean,
That's
I'd much rather
not
sit
a
there
card
than
you
put
want to
it
see. That's a good... That's actually a
It's a
fantastic
very
damage.
good thing.
At least Graham doesn't have Interceptor down this game.
That is true.
That's a card that really ends this, but it looks like lethal on board.
Yeah. Oh, he can make Swamp Monk into a forward. At
Yeah,
least.
you can trade with the lock. Costs him
But
probably...
the lock's unblockable.
Oh, he has to trade with the shadow, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fairly sure Graham hasn't discarded the lock. It's not something I would expect from him.
Mm-hmm. So unlockable,
Yeah. Putting him to 6 damage.
ready to go. Swamp Monk will actually be able to beat Shadow if Steve is willing to give him both those cards, but I don't know if that's good.
I think, well, he's going to lose 1 card anyway, and he's going to have to make Swamp Monk a forward to survive this turn.
Mm-hmm.
So the optimal play is having 1 ice, 1 water in hand, make Swamp Monk a monster.
Yeah.
And then you see the damage, you wait, and then
There's the Mirage dive.
should at least stop the shadow.
Yeah, looks like that's going to be a scoop.
Fair.
Unfortunate.
It's
That's
like a
that's sad.
very bad start.
He's just milling the cards trying to find his things. Oh man, I hate it. I hate it when that happens. He's got blooming Nile in his hand and double Luma. That's
on 2 damage.
fire.
That's amazing.
Oh my god, that's a lot of firepower.
That's all he needed to. I mean, the nail by himself just ends the game. Like,
Yeah, it really is. All right,
I mean, I think we've got a consensus for whose deck is the best at the moment.
looks like it, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're all fairly convincing victories, speaking from experience. And yeah, I think you're right. I think it's because he's played this deck so long and he's worked it in every opus, like you said. That just gives you another level of understanding of what you need to do
Yeah.
in the right situation. And it's just practice, and it will make you better if you just stick with 1 deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with that more. Right, let's see what they're saying about that game.
A real game afterwards. Hello.
All right, dudes. That was a match. That.
Yeah. I think that's being kind to it.
I just want to say, Steve. That lock damage was the best lock damage I've ever seen in my life.
That was
Get that Sephiroth
very, very
out
nice.
of here. You're in the live stream, buddy. You ain't coming down.
Yeah. I think that I'd said in the game there that if ever there was proof that Sephiroth didn't have the ability to come down when you're already that far ahead, it was a game like that where
Yeah.
33% of my characters on field by having Sephiroth enter.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, the opening hand I had there was okay, but it definitely wasn't beating Fire Ice levels of good. And I'm well, you saw the turn 1 hand when Kate Sith came down.
Yeah.
It was. Let's hope that.
So, did your original opener have a backup in it?
Oh,
It did
not.
have a backup.
It had
yes.
a backup in it, yeah, but you don't
had-
tend to keep a backup hands, no. I do
I'm
agree
quite an
that.
aggressive mulliganer if I don't believe the hand has got a really good turn 1 play, which is a backup, and also something super productive to do on turn 2. Like I would much rather mulligan and know that 5 mediocre cards are not going to be seen by turn 2.
Absolutely, because if those next cards that you do see are also bad, then you would have spent about 3 turns digging through that before you
Fire
knew
Ice,
that.
you don't have 3 turns.
And you can't do that. You can't do that. So no, I agree with them all. It's a shame that it didn't pay off.
The reflective and speculative piece on this deck is that playing Fire Ice, you really need to remove their one good card, and I don't think that Water Ice monsters can do that.
Yeah.
And the other 2 decks have got too many big dudes.
Yes, I don't.
Big fields, big dudes, and individual scary dudes. So I think that a lot of that would be solved by removal in general, but it's just not something that you permit yourself when you play that many monsters, and there are so few monsters that remove in those elements. But it's a fun deck to mess about with, but not something I would be taking seriously anytime soon.
No. We've seen a bit of Water Ice monsters dabbled in our fight sessions recently, and they've done all right. They're pretty hit or miss. The ones that we've been playing, though, have been playing a bit more towards what's his name, Ultras builds. Have you considered having a little bit of a dabble with Ultras, Steve?
Yeah, Ultras Barthandalus is pretty cool. To be honest, like anything that does damage and doesn't cost a lot of CP plus Barthandalus is really, really cool. Yeah. I think it's probably the way to go for like a super agnostic room, for maybe a bit more of a solve meta game or at the end of the opus or something. Then sometimes something that's a little bit more focused on the negation and the discard works better. But like I said earlier on, unless you're going to be playing against big summons and green cards every game, I don't think that's a deck list that I would trust.
Yeah.
There's also something to be said for throwing in a little FF4 package with the new Cecil, Theodore, Rosa, the new Porum you can play for Soya.
I am massively in love with that new Theodore. It's such a unique card, tremendously fun in like, mono water for Soya lists. Just like we've had cards that could be played from the break zone before, like Terrible Noel from the Opus 5 starter deck. Even if it's sort of okay in the turbo discard meta because degree of once you have enough backups, you mind if they waste a Matthias on every single turn. And separately, we've had cards that can be played without paying a CP cost before, like the relatively bad Opus 9 Sky Pirate Van. Don't think we've ever had like we've never had anything that comes close to being a forward you don't pay CP for and can enter from your break zone. And I just think that is waiting to be exploited. Really, really love the design.
The other thing is you can also use Leonora to search into backup Porum, or you've got the Ice Forward Palom as well that you can find, which might let you put it in an Ice Water Monsters deck, just that setup, which would give you some removal as well as a way to get through some of the more some of the less useful cards, the cards that you want to search out with your realms and stuff.
For sure, yeah. It's an archetype that I think, like an old beloved crumbling wreck of a car in your garage, you can tinker with it every Saturday. But it's probably going to take a lot of work to make it into something that's going to win the Formula One.
That's fair.
I mean, in like 5 opuses time, you'll bring it out and you'll be like, perfect, just where I left it, and you'll make an amazing deck. But it just needs a bit more going for it.
Yeah, I think so. It's Realm was an amazing card, but finding the right piles of monsters, and I think that it helps as well sometimes if you know your opponent's decks, if you don't know quite what you're playing against yet. There's probably a 2-monster pile, a 1-cost and a 2-cost monster that will solve pretty much any problem you're facing. I've seen some really cool decks that are playing Cactuar and Goblin to search out another Cactuar.
Yeah, dude.
That's so cool. And I've seen some lists that are playing... I can't remember what it's called now, but...
I'd like to add, was that list that you were talking about just then a Wind Lightning list? So
yes.
neither of those, the water or ice, are actually the primary colours, but he uses them regardless. I love it.
Yeah, like Realm can be used to solve a pressing much any element. I really love Earth decks being able to search Mandragora and then another cheap monster. I'm trying to CP monsters there are. Splendid, I guess. Splendid's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Hillgigas as well.
Hillgigas is amazing.
Yeah, Christ. There's some really good one CP monsters.
Your decks probably
effectively setting out the
Mandragora. Playing Hillgigas from your hand, but then you still have to have Hillgigas in your deck, which kind of sucks because you want cards.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about Buckaboo in general. But Buckaboo is tremendously strong and very, very swingy and powerful when you see it early enough. But
I really don't like the opportunity cost of some number of Buckaboo in your deck, because it's a miserable Thaumaturge style top deck in close games when both of your hand sizes where you really don't ever want to see a Buckaboo, and Realm eases a lot of that cost of being played in the first place in your deck.
Honestly, the most success I've had with Realm is putting her in with fire and just getting goblins. Getting 1-drop goblins and 2-drop goblins. Just
You also have access to EX Burst Goblin Finders in Firewater as well, right? Which is it's just synergy.
Arena of
It's
the
things
Queen.
you
that
don't want
play
to do
together.
it because you want them in your deck for Realm to pull out.
I know, but the EX Burst that's relevant in Fire is in Water for it is quite rare. I thought that when I saw that, even if it's just like a one-off or something, it makes it like a nice option as a curve backup.
But yeah, it's something that I messed about with earlier before I was like, right, I should probably build a serious deck at some point. And then I built this.
Yeah, it's pretty serious, I'll give you that.
It's been doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
Two-time champion now. Would you be joining us again next time then? Trying to hang on to your championship title.
I'm gonna have to see how life circumstances are, because I'm coming up to what's going to be a pretty busy and stressful period for myself. But I'm quite happy to see what I can do to try and come back on at least.
Well, fingers crossed.
Keep the streak going.
Well, that was awesome. Thanks a lot for joining me for that, guys. It was a real hoot. There's some excellent matches today.
Having me. I really miss in lockdown. I miss more than anything being able to take something funny, and I think always spending their time spending their discussion, their sort of emotional investment in trying to figure out what the best deck is, and I think you can on a little bit of the spirit of the game that way. So I enjoyed an opportunity to play something that I always enjoy, even when you don't see backups till turn 5.
I think I'd just like to add on that point. It feels like I'm back at locals again. I've been down in Essex and the locals isn't great here, so just having a group to play with and then talk about each other's plays and what the good things, bad things, what the meta's doing, it feels really nice just to have a group. So yeah, thank you very much for inviting me.
No, I'm glad we could bring that to you, buddy.
Yeah.
We tend to have, Fight Night Fridays as well?
Yep, well, we have our fight night on this Friday, fight sesh. Just a free, open, casual tournament. Like, just sign up on the day or whatever, and if you can play, you can play. Just to test builds, flex stuff out, and it's in like a best of one tournament setting, so you just get to have consistent games against different players and have a chat and all that sort of stuff. Trying to bring the local stuff online as much as we can with it, you know.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. I'll probably have to join you guys for that now.
Hell yeah, dude.
Alright.
Cool. Well, thanks again, guys, and we'll catch you all very soon, I'm sure.
Thank you very much.
Peace out.
Look forward to it. Thank you very much for having me, and everyone listening at home, stay safe.
Yeah, cheers, dudes.